So, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Hunters Hub. This is your host, Fortuan, joined by co-host Pan tonight. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. So much better than last week.
I'm glad, because now I have a cold. I don't know what you had, but I have a cold.
I went to a 6-year-old's birthday party, and I was too tired to do anything.
Fair.
And I just passed out, and I was like, I got to give up now because I'm not going to have any energy for the podcast.
Yeah, I feel that. And I mean, my daughters are going to be 7 and 5 now, and they're going to have a birthday party that's the two of them together. Because
oh god, no! There was a piñata. It was really tough to keep like the smaller children from getting brained while the piñata was up.
Oh yeah,
piñatas are a bad idea.
Yeah,
I know.
When
An aluminum bat.
When I was still part of the ex's family and everything, they're Hispanic, so piñatas were a thing. So, yeah. So Sasha couldn't make it tonight. She had a family emergency. So thoughts and prayers to her husband, who's apparently, we don't know what happened, but it's pretty serious. It sounds like. So she can't join us tonight, so I hope everything goes well. But in lieu, we have my brother Chauncey back this week. He was with us last week, so welcome back.
And now I know what he looks like.
That just says you didn't watch last week at all.
No.
Why would she?
Well, other
I was
people
sleeping.
Other people say they can't be here and watch, so maybe that was just a thing I didn't know about being very popular.
No, I was sleeping.
I'm pro sleep.
And Steve, welcome back.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good, considering like I was talking before the podcast. I've not had a ton of sleep because of the cold, so we'll see how it works. Took some Dayquil, so we'll be hopefully good for the rest of the podcast.
How long ago did you take it?
He said Dayquil.
How long ago, though?
Is
it kicked in yet?
7:30 or so.
So about half hour.
So you should be good to go.
No, hour and a half. Hour and a half. You're ahead of us.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah, he's got just off camera. He's got some NyQuil, so it's kind of a race until he takes the NyQuil and conks out.
That I can't take it till 11:30 or so. So, well, we got some time. If I can survive till then, I'll try. I've been doing a lot better. You can ask Chance. Like I think Thursday was the worst day. Was just terrible. It was like a fountain coming out of my nose. You don't want to see that.
Nope.
So, we're going to talk about copycat games that did it better. Now, we're going to take this a little loosely. I figured we'd have to talk about this a little. We hadn't been able to communicate a lot between me being sick and other things. So when we say a little loosely, as in it's a game that was made to be inspired of or directly is ripping off another game, but did it better in some way, in some interpretations. There's going to be some looser examples, but there's also going to be some pretty tight examples too, especially I think 3 of mine are pretty solid. Like, we made this because we were directly inspired by this game and then blew it out of the water.
Man, how many do you have?
5.
Oh, okay. I like stretched to get 4.
I
had a hard time with this prompt.
I spent all week trying to get 5. I got 4. And a good friend of mine, and Chauncey's, chimed in and helped me with one. And I was like, oh yeah,
I miscounted. I have 5.
Yes. So we'll probably do 5 apiece if you can. Pan?
Chelsea, do you have 5? Chelsea told me 1.
I have one good one. I have one very loose one. Like I think I've probably got the loosest, most stretchiest, elastic by definition one. And depending on what you guys come up with, I'll probably have a lot to say about them.
I have one.
Sonic the Hedgehog. That's a direct ripoff of Mario, right? And it did it better, right?
That's pretty stretchy and loose, but not as mine.
I literally said to Chauncey earlier today, if anyone says Sonic was better than Mario, I'm going to kill them.
Why would that even come up?
It's not better. It's do thing better.
Oh, that's sure. Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Welcome back, Morg. We're gonna get through this.
Don't get too excited.
So Pan, I guess we'll do. We'll have you last, so that you can think of things as we go. So, Steve, why don't we start with you? And on my
I just remembered one. I just remembered one that was really good.
Okay, write it down.
Oh, I do want to say I have one on my list that is an honorable mention. That if Pan doesn't get it tonight, then I'm just gonna dock off points for her. For it. She can't. She's no longer a fan of that series. I'll just say that.
Oh shit! The pressure's on.
I'm pretty sure you'll have it, but if you don't, I'd be very surprised.
Okay.
So Steve, we'll start with you. Then we'll do me, Chance, and then Pan. So.
All right, we're gonna do this.
For the
counterclockwise,
for the people
the ideal direction.
Yeah, for the people who have a visual of us on Twitch, it's actually going to do counterclockwise starting on Steve. So
yeah,
4, 1, 2, 3.
Correct board game direction.
Yep. It's about board games. We need to do a board game podcast one day.
I was actually trying. I was going to say if I didn't come up with one, I was going to talk about how every deck builder does Dominion better than Dominion.
Oh,
I do like picking princesses. With I forget. Heart of Crown is what it's called.
Yeah, that one's interesting. It's a little too anime for me, but it's still fun. Like you do.
I've never heard of this.
It's literally a deck builder. Yeah, it's a deck builder where you back princesses. So you pick a princess and they have like an ability, and you're basically trying to push them on to be the queen.
That sounds super fun.
Yeah, and you build a deck to sort of do the thing,
sure,
stuff and whatnot. All right, Steve, your first
I get to start.
Yep.
All right, this is the one I probably have the most to say about. Humanity came out like 2 weeks ago.
This is why I wanted him on tonight, by the way.
Oh.
Humanity is Civilization, but it's made by Sega.
Yo, I thought it was called Humankind.
Humankind?
Oh, it is called Humankind.
I did want.
I wrote it in my notes wrong.
It looks so cool. Yeah, I've
Humankind.
seen
Yes, it is very cool. Okay, so disclosure, I've put 200 hours into Civ 4, like 1,000 hours into Civ 5, and like 600 hours into Civ 6. I've put 20 hours into Humankind because that's about how much time I've had to play since it came out.
Yeah,
we had more time in college.
That's fair.
So
also,
overall,
I'm surprised you put that much into Civ 6. I bought Civ 6 and was entirely disappointed.
I was
it got
too.
Better.
The expansions, if you get both the expansions, it's pretty good.
Okay.
I had like 80 hours until the first expansion, and then I put in maybe another 100, and then the second expansion came out, and then it was like 500 hours.
Okay. All right. So
anyway,
anyways.
I was actually pretty disappointed with base Civ 6. But Humankind, I was not disappointed with, or at least, 20 hours in, I'm not.
Yeah.
We'll see, it's hard to judge with a Civ type game. Like,
yeah, 20 hours
now,
is like a match sometimes.
No, I've played 3 matches.
Wow, okay.
Against AIs.
Okay, so here's thing number 1 that Humankind does absolutely better than Civ 6. And this is on my computer. Different people's experience may differ, but even late game, if I hit next turn, it is like 3 seconds until the next turn at most.
That's awesome. That's so much better.
So, yeah, games do go faster when you're not spending a minute every turn waiting for the AIs to do their thing. It does not show you any animations that aren't your own units unless, like, you're in a combat.
Mm-hmm.
I just got a message. It distracted me. I think, Chelsea said that there was something messing with my sound.
There's some kind of tapping sound coming through, and I was trying to tell him about that without interrupting the podcast.
Okay, well,
Mission failed.
But I hope that fixed it. If there's an audio issue, you got to let me know because I got to fix it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the table was just bumping into the microphone.
That might have been it. It sounded either Soul banging on his door or you're bumping into your table.
All right. Well, did it stop now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It was a table bumping into the mic stand. Should be fixed now. Okay. So 3 seconds between turns. That, number one, quality of life change.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he was able to do 3 matches in 20 hours.
Instead of 1?
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't get to melt a quilt in between.
Yeah.
Knit.
Here's I made a list of things. I played it for like an hour this afternoon and just wrote down some things that I quite like about it. There are no workers in Humankind. You just have your city just like build its hexes like wherever you want to develop. And then once you build a space on the hex, it's developed and you get whatever like the food or production or science that hex gives. Unlike civilization, you don't need to have a citizen like assigned to that hex.
Right.
It's just like if once you have the infrastructure, you get the bonus, which I like quite a lot, which then all of your citizens become like specialists.
Okay.
Which I think, and then you can assign them how you want that way.
Sure.
Something else I think is cool is if you want to make a military unit, you have to deduct a citizen from the city you're making it in. So you can't just like drop a new city right next to an enemy and just start spamming out like an army. Like if you want to build an army that like takes population away from your city, and like I don't know, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
What else did I write that I think is cool? You can fight a woolly mammoth. There are, instead of like barbarians at the very early game. By the way, before Ancient Era, there is a Neolithic era where you don't even have a city, and you just have units like wandering around, just like finding nuts and berries and
I have a whole
stuff.
city builder based around that period called Dawn of Man. It's actually a really good one. Yeah.
So the very early game, you're just like hunter-gatherers, and you just have to get enough resources to be able to found a city.
Something I love about that is there's this huge debate in Civ of if you settle turn 1. Like, turn 1, do you just drop your city wherever your settler started, or do you spend a couple turns like getting a really good location? In Humankind, it's just like, no, that's the early game, is figuring out what the good location is and just exploring and trying to find enough food that you can make a city.
I like that, yeah.
And there's animals roaming around that you can hunt, and sometimes it's a woolly mammoth, and I just think that's really cool. Something else that I think is really cool is when you start the game, it does not tell you what year it is. Whenever you research calendar, whenever you finish researching calendar, that is 5000 BC.
Okay. So you could have like jet planes if you never. Well, not that you could.
Calendar is really important.
Yeah, sure. I know it's very early in the trees usually.
Yeah, I mean you can't like do anything with resources until you have calendar figured out.
Okay.
You can't like allocate resources for the winter.
No, yeah, like
because you don't know when winter's you don't know when winter is.
Yeah, it's like if there's
winter's coming.
Silk or bananas or whatever. Like you need calendar to be able to do anything with that.
Okay.
There's an option in it to just turn off AI aggression, and just like the AIs will just do their thing and never declare war on each other.
Okay.
And I think that's just neat to have that as an option. Like, sometimes, like, I don't want to build a giant military game or, like, have to worry about someone stomping on me. I just, like, want to do my own thing. And most of the time I don't, but I love that it's an option.
Okay.
What else? When you're trading, if you make an offer, or if someone makes an offer to you, you get 3 choices. You can accept it, you can decline it, or you can counteroffer. Counteroffer is always, I will accept if you pay this set amount that the game determines based on like the era.
Oh yeah,
There is none of this
in
like
the Monopoly games. Actually, you can do this.
yeah. So there isn't like, but it's automatic, and like you don't get to be like, oh, I'll do it for 37 gold, but not 36, and you like have to, you know, keep adding 1 gold until the AI accepts your deal. It's just like, no, counteroffer. It's based on the era. They can accept it or not. If they decline, by the way, a trade offer, that is a grievance that can help you build up a like formal declaration of war.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, if another country offends you enough, then you can declare war on them. It gives you a casus belli, similar to Crusader Kings.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Or the way it works, it's not a direct casus belli, but it's like your country will have war support based on how much another country has like wronged you, and you know you can be like, I think your city should be my city. You're oppressing my people by ruling them. You are wronging me.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
you know, stuff like that. Oh, something that's kind of fun. Instead of just like there are plains and there are hills, there's actually different elevations.
Sure.
So, you know, it's not like there is having the high ground. It's not just like units are on a hill. It's like, no, in this situation, this unit has the high ground over this one, but that unit could be on the low ground compared to another one. There can be cliffs that you just completely can't scale. I just think it makes the map quite a bit more interesting.
I will have to. This is a game I wanted for. You know, I saw it and I was like, "This looks amazing," and then it just sort of fell off the radar for me. So I'll have to look into this.
Yeah. All right. 2 or 3 more things.
Oh wow.
The AIs have their own difficulty levels.
Oh, individually so.
Yes.
Okay.
So some, like, it's not just all the AIs stomp you or you stomp all the AIs. It's a little bit more dynamic. Some AIs will do well. Some AIs will do worse, which I think makes the game quite a bit more interesting.
Not gonna lie, most of mine are usually on easy.
Yeah, and that's how I've played most of Civ, just because it's not fun to me to like constantly be defending against. Yeah. You do not pick a civilization and then be that civilization.
Okay.
You start as a Neolithic tribe with no culture. And then every era you pick a civilization to switch to.
Interesting.
So like you can't be like America in the ancient era.
Sure.
You can be like the Babylonians or
The Yamato?
the Egyptians. Yeah.
Are the Yamato an option?
I don't think they are in the ancient era. Yeah, no, Japan just becomes an option like in the medieval era, I think.
So they're like a tree. Like you start at
It's not a tree. It's because every era you can just select from all of them.
Yeah, you can totally be like the ancient Egyptians and then later be America.
Yeah.
Or Japan.
Okay.
But you know, like you could, and each culture has its own focus. So like you could be like, you know, the Babylonians are the ancient science culture, and then like you could pick all the science ones until like in the modern era you're Sweden and you have like Nobel Prize and you know you're super science focused, or be like a war culture the whole time. Or you can pick to maintain your culture, in which case you gain a score bonus because you're using like outdated stuff. Something I thought was kind of fun was in one of my games I picked ancient Egypt, and then I just stayed ancient Egypt until I got to the modern era, in which point I switched to modern Egypt.
Okay.
So, and that's really cool. Also, that reminds me of this board game I love called History of the World, where you do kind of the same thing.
Okay.
I don't expect anyone to have played that because it's very old.
You can see it on the shelf behind me.
Yeah, it's super fun. Okay, so I had
Oh yeah.
the changing culture. Oh, the wonders. So the way wonders work is when you hit an era, there are so many wonders for that era. It's not based on your technologies. It's just whatever era you're in. and you can just spend 300 culture to call dibs on a wonder, and then you have dibs on that wonder, and you can take your time to build it, and nobody else is allowed to build it.
But that also means you can't build the Colossus of Rhodes in the medieval era.
Well, you can if nobody called dibs on it, but
Oh, I thought they reset when you advance eras.
nope, it's just
Oh.
no, like, and you can call dibs on Stonehenge and then just like
Never
not
build it.
anything.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you can't call dibs on a new wonder until you finished your old wonder.
Oh, sure. That's
So
fair.
you can't like, yeah. Also, and when you start building a wonder, every one of your cities will gain an option to donate their production to that wonder. So you could have your entire civilization like working on the same wonder and build it really fast. I mean, that's what your country's doing for those 12 turns or whatever. But
Yeah.
and it just always sucked to be like, oh, I was one turn away from the Colossus, and then we tore it down because somebody else already built one.
Yeah. Yeah, it always felt weird. Like, why can't everyone have a Colossus?
Yeah, like we all started building one. The combat I just think is better, like without getting into detail, but it's a little bit more tactical. It goes into its own mode, like based on the terrain.
Oh, yeah.
There's Crusader King style events that will happen, and like you could get that, like a prophet says that there's going to be a plague. What should we do? And then like you pick your choice, and then there will be consequences based on your choice.
Okay.
Oh, and the camera doesn't snap to AI fighting AI.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. There's no. That's part of why it's faster, is because there's no. It doesn't show any animations that aren't your own units.
Gotcha.
So you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to watch like Montezuma and Genghis Khan duke it out while you're just trying to build an opera house.
All right, and last thing that I think is really cool is that strategic resources that like you haven't discovered yet are still marked on the map. You don't know what they are until you get whatever tech, but like you'll know that like there'll be a question mark over a hex, and then maybe whenever you discover oil, it will switch to oil.
Gotcha.
But you'll know that this hex is important.
So you can claim it and sort of not do anything with it for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Also, I guess like the way you claim area is that the world is just automatically divided into territories. And if you like throw down a city in a territory, then you just have the whole territory. You can also throw down an outpost, and you don't have to build a city there. And that outpost can become a city, or it can attach to a nearby city, in which case like all of its food and production will just go to that city. So if you want to, you could have one city that like spans half the world just by connecting outposts to each other. And that one city would have crazy production and food. Oh, and that reminded me of something that happened. This was day one. I don't know if it was a glitch or not, but it was cool. I put two things I had a city like that, and I put two things in my production queue. Then they were like, I don't know, it was 2 units or something. They had pretty low production cost, and I had really high production, and it just spat them both out on the same turn. Because I had enough production to pay for both of them.
I like
Neat.
that.
Yeah. Not sure if that was intentional or if that was just a day one glitch, but
All right.
yeah, so lots of cool ideas. I heard a rumor that they just started working on Civ 7. I'm hoping that they use a lot of these ideas because I think it's pretty cool. But
It's nice to see that Civ doesn't have a stranglehold on the genre anymore.
yeah, I love Civ, but
No,
Competition
yeah,
is always good.
you need to do some innovation.
yeah.
Okay. Wow. So that's humankind over
Humankind.
Yeah. Over
civilization.
Civ 6. Yep, and I would say it's closest to Civ 6 of all
Okay.
of the civilization games. Because it has districts and the hexes and all that stuff.
Sure. So my first one, we're going a little old school. We're talking N64 days, where we were first getting what we call the collectathons, and it started with a great game. Don't get me wrong, Mario 64. But I'm saying the game that did it better is the original Banjo-Kazooie.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
a hot take, man.
I know.
That's a hot take.
But here's the thing. I love Mario. Mario's great.
I just want to slow you down just real quick. You were like, man, if anyone says Sonic is better than Mario. Okay, now let me come in here and tell you how Banjo-Kazooie is better than Mario.
Mario 64. Mario 64. No, I'm just joking. No, the Banjo-Kazooie, they took the collectathon and they gave it more meat, right? Now, Mario 64 is great getting the stars, but you get kicked out every level, right? Banjo-Kazooie has characters. Not that Mario 64 didn't have characters, but they felt pretty one-off and flat compared to some of the characters in Banjo-Kazooie. Some of them are pretty one-off and flat, but like harassing the gorilla in Mumbo's Mountain is like an ongoing thing. I think you get like a total of 3 Jiggies from him, and eventually he's like, fuck this, I'm out. Now, granted, that's what happens to a lot of NPCs in Banjo-Kazooie. You just harass them till they leave. One of them being like Gobi from Gobi's Desert. Unfortunately, that poor camel that you, his final straws when you do a beak drill into his back and make him spit out the last of his water into a tree's mouth. Like that poor camel. Like Banjo-Kazooie are kind of mean, but they're like doing this for a good cause to save, Tootie from getting her youth sucked out of her by Gruntilda. It's a very weird game, but what it took the formula of a collectathon, a 3D so explore. I think Mario really established that genre pretty well. Mario 64 did. I mean, that's still a favorite for many people. It's still speedrun. It had a re-release just last year, or was it the year before? And it ended last year, I think.
It ended this year.
Okay. So, yeah, it started last year.
Last year still strikes me as 2019, so I don't even know.
Fair.
No, I remember it was in February this year. I was like, oh, I guess we better buy this.
Yeah, I bought it the month
Did
it
we?
came out.
Yeah, we did. Mm-hmm.
Okay, see?
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong, Mario 64 is great. There's a lot of great things about it. I think there are some things that I like better. There are some, as far as like execution of controls, there isn't a lot of problems with 64. Sorry.
You know what? Like for me, since playing Odyssey, I can't go back to 64. It's crazy to me. But like,
that's fair. Banjo-Kazooie, I felt like all the Jiggies were a little, like all of them have personality. Now, granted, there are some generic ones like collect all the Jinjos and stuff, but like, there's similar ones like collect all the coins in Mario 64, where you have to do it on every level. And I think the music is just better in Banjo-Kazooie. There's some standouts in 64, but across the board, man, talking a bunch at once is problematic right now. So, Banjo-Kazooie over Mario 64.
just
Take it away, Chance.
let it out. Let it out, Cam.
All right.
Dude, go get some like hot water and honey while Chance talks.
Maybe he's supposed to talk and just let it all out.
Well, first one I'm going to do, I'm going to keep a little bit of symmetry and stay in an RTS. And I'm going to say Empire Earth did it better than Age of Empires. And Empire Earth, probably less known, but it came out in 2001. And I like it a lot more just for its scope. And you go from Age of Empires when you had about 4 epochs, maybe 100 units is what you would reasonably think you would have, to a max population of 1,200 between all players and 12 epochs. Now, I do say they lose a little bit of, I think, the identity of being a different culture, because it just becomes like some percentage buffs, and it's no longer this like theming that I get that feeling, because we went back and played Age of Empires 2 just a few months ago, a couple weeks in a row. But Empire Earth always stood out to me because I like that idea of I felt like I had more identity propagating through a longer gameplay and not really having that feeling of playing an Age of Empires where it was kind of rushed to this specific point, build all the camel archers and kill people. Like that wasn't a thing, because if you rush too much like that, you might walk up to someone who had mortar cannons, or a big difference comes when the first people start making machine gun carrying infantry instead of swords and shields. Like, I just appreciate having this longer game, and the AI has definitely felt a little. They're easy to trick if you use towers the right way, which might have been overall a disappointment, but having that RTS game that I really liked, that I spent a lot of time, like you said with Civ, playing against the AI as like a source of fun, and this is something I played pretty heavily in high school, so probably 2003, a couple years after it came out.
Yeah.
So, for me, it gave me a bigger game, it gave me more units, you know, it was just giving me that more when I had a lot more time to put into it.
It's a good one.
I've not played Age of Empires in 22 years, and I've never played Empire Earth, so.
I've never heard of Empire Earth. But you know, I've said a few times, I've played the crap out of Age of Empires.
I definitely think it is, in the term of time, probably stood up less as like something meaningful in the genre, but definitely from my experience, there were definitely those key parts I liked more, and I can see a lot more of the DNA of Age of Empires like moved forward, and things even like Civ. I feel inspiration there, where I think Age of Empires was kind of a tendril that fell off.
Yeah, that company went under fairly quickly after Empire Earth 2.
Yeah, there was a second that I don't think I ever played. It was also kind of cool. Like, I actually got to a future stage at some point where you could have like mechs running around.
I love that.
I usually capped it before that because because you have ground units and you have sea units, and eventually you get air units because you can make airports and stuff like that. But your like normal defensive structure of anti-air and turrets kind of start to falter as soon as the mechs start to be buildable, because just the way they can output damage, defensive structures just don't matter anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll say that's the one thing in Humankind that I actually really dislike, is every game I've played has timed out before anyone reached the future era.
Mm.
I think, I don't know, they just need to adjust how long the games are or something. Or maybe
Can
I'm
you
just sucked
remove
at
the
it.
time limit?
You can, but it's really set up so that like the win condition is that you have so many points at the time limit. Like that's the, you know, it's not about domination as much, or like the culture victory or religious victory, whatever. It's really like
How many
wants
victory
you
points? Yeah.
to like, yeah, and you get victory points by doing achievements, which is kind of cool. But
So I'm reading a little bit about Empire Earth. The lead developer of Age of Empires Original, basically he left Ensemble Studios to go make Empire Earth.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Yeah, so Empire Earth was made by the lead developer of the original Age of Empires game. And then his company got bought by Sierra, and then Sierra got bought by Activision, and
oh
And now
boy.
they're bad
there we
people?
go.
There you go.
they got bought by Vivendi, and then Vivendi got bought by Activision. So he left sometime after the Activision acquisition, and went on to form his own studio that got closed by its parent company.
Mm-hmm. Poor guy.
That was rough.
Yeah, he's had some bad luck, Brian. Game studios looking at it, but yeah, he did Age of Empires, The Rise of Rome expansion. Then he did the Empire Earth games, and then he did a couple of piddling little RTS games that never really did much because their studios kept getting bought out and closed.
Okay. Yeah, but Empire Earth pretty solid.
Interesting.
Game. I can.
Yeah,
I can vouch for that.
Alrighty. So I'm going to talk about one of two suspects that I think Cham was talking about earlier, where I lose all credibility if I don't talk about this. Is it Stardew Valley?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank God. There's one
I've
other
never
one.
heard of the Stardew Valley. Please tell me about it.
It's a popular game for Pan on this show.
So Stardew Valley is a it started out on PC, but it's on I believe every possible
I've seen
gaming
it on
device.
all major platforms.
Yes. It's almost on as many platforms as Skyrim.
No way. It's not on
Almost.
Alexa.
I was gonna say that's why it's not on as many. Like
It's not on a fridge.
Stardew Valley is not on Alexa. You're right.
Get
you can play Skyrim on Alexa.
Get on Doom's level.
Not on PlayStation 3.
Get on Doom's level. Put it on a pregnancy test. There you go.
There you go. Get it onto an active voting machine.
That's a real pregnancy test right there. Stardew Valley.
Okay, so Stardew Valley. Made solely by Eric Barone, also known as Concerned Ape.
Mm-hmm.
It is a slice of life farming simulator where you, just in case you've been living under a goddamn rock for the last 6 years.
Yeah. Or have never
4
listened
years,
to the show
4 or
before.
5 years actually. Yeah, or in case you're just tuning in and you've also been living under that rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a slice of life farming simulator made by one guy, Eric Barone, also known as Concerned Ape, that is still getting updates to this day. And basically, you inherit your grandpa's broke down farm, and you go revitalize the farm, make a life for yourself in the town called Stardew Valley, or no, Pelican Town. Sorry, it's Pelican Town, located in Stardew Valley.
Correct you. I was about to.
Yeah, my bad. I have only Pelican Town, located in Stardew Valley. And you make a life for yourself. You make friends. You can get married, have kids, etc., etc. Have a nice life. You can live the unattainable millennial dream of affording your own home, and no, it is attainable. You just have to have a landowning grandpa die.
Hey, I had my own home for, what was it, 5 years? Yeah, I had a house for 5 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Stardew Valley. It reinvigorated the farming game genre. Before
You say that like farming simulator isn't a thing.
Farming Simulator is different. Farming Simulator is about like John Deere.
Farming genre.
I think they call it slice of life.
Yeah, it's called like Slice of Life now. Like before that, the only major players were Harvest Moon and the Harvest Moon / Story of Seasons, which those are two different game titles now, due to the company splitting and legal drama. So before Stardew Valley came out, you had Harvest Moon, you had Story of Seasons, and then you had Farming Simulator. And now you can't like boot up your
Switch.
Jeez, I can't talk. No, you can't boot up your like gaming download platform of choice without running into like 5 different indie titles for the new slice of life farming game.
Oh yeah. We had Sasha recommend us one recently too.
Yeah, Gleaner Heights, and she and I keep missing each other, and I forgot to talk about it last time I was on with her. But Gleaner Heights, I'm glad she enjoyed it. I really am, but it did not grab me. There were so many like lack of quality of life improvements in Gleaner Heights that the genre has sort of evolved beyond, and also it's got a lot of glitches. And I just got so frustrated. I got so frustrated and angry with it that I went out and bought a legitimate like Story of Seasons game, and I went out and bought Pioneers of Olive Town.
Oh yeah, both of the girls got a copy of that today.
Yeah, and I can talk about that a little bit, but anyways, back to Stardew Valley. It really just shot a bunch of life into the farming simulator slice of life genre. The head developer at Marvelous Entertainment, which their only game they really make is Story of Seasons, he said that while he wouldn't comment on whether or not their next titles were inspired by things that were done in Stardew Valley, he said that everyone in the office had played it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably, and the only reason why he isn't commenting on it is probably because he's not allowed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure he's not allowed to.
Yeah.
And also, that's a Japanese video game developer like praising a Western game based off of like his games.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's pretty intense.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'd be kind of impossible to like not be influenced by a thing that you experienced.
True.
Well, yeah.
But
exactly.
also, you can't patent game mechanics. Hence, Stardew Valley exists.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Stardew Valley was inspired by playing Harvest Moon Back to Nature and Harvest Moon 64.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's all a circle.
Yeah, it's very cyclical. I think that overall, I think that what Stardew Valley brought to the sort of slice of life farming genre is healthy competition. Because most Harvest Moon games, they're not quite as bad as say Call of Duty and FIFA, but many Harvest Moon games are very similar. They do a lot of the same things over and over. I mean, they even use basically the same character designs. You've always got Anne, you've always got Potpourri, you've always got Ellie, you've always got Karen. It's just that they're redrawn slightly differently.
Sure.
In a slightly different anime style.
I mean, Animal Crossing isn't far off too.
Oh yeah, Animal Crossing was the other one. Though, yeah, Animal Crossing was the other one in that genre. Although,
Animal
there's
Crossing,
such a
you don't like plant crops, right?
No.
You can,
Trees.
You got
But
your
not like
fruits.
the way you do in like
No.
Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley.
No.
And with Animal Crossing, the real emphasis in Animal Crossing is the multiplayer aspect.
Or student debt.
Yeah,
That's pretty good. I hadn't thought about it that way before.
yeah.
You've changed how I experience this game now.
Sorry.
But yeah, Animal Crossing. It's very, very emphasis on like visit your friends' towns, show your friends around your town, build your town up the way you exactly want it, so you can show it off to people.
Right.
So like Animal Crossing really barely exists as a single player game, but the Harvest Moon / Stardew Valley genre exists as a single player game.
Mm-hmm.
So Stardew Valley. One of the things that sort of very specifically that Stardew Valley did to shake up the genre that Harvest Moon hadn't done, and partly I blame it on like Harvest Moon being a very niche game and video games being for boys, and the Natsumi / Pal, who later became Marvelous, sort of didn't realize at first that the people playing Harvest Moon were girls.
Mm-hmm.
Because video games are for boys. Until, like, later on they started re-releasing their games where you can choose a girl character.
Right.
And they had bachelors instead of bachelorettes. But the thing that Stardew Valley did that Harvest Moon hadn't done prior to that, to my knowledge, was allowing same-sex relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You were just wholly locked out of that unless you, like, hack your N64 and mod it. Which I've seen those.
God damn. Kudos to those people.
Yeah. No, I've seen like N64 hacks of like, well, they're probably ROM hacks now, of like allowing Cliff and Kai to be marriage candidates because apparently nobody cares for Gray or the baker.
I remember that XKCD where they talked about hacking Final Fantasy VII so that Aerith doesn't die.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to deal with death, just like when Aerith died. No, I hacked it. Aerith didn't die in my playthrough.
It's too dramatic. I skipped that, yeah.
Yeah, So yeah, to my knowledge, and someone can always correct me on this if I'm wrong. Please do. But I don't think that any mainline Harvest Moon games by Marvelous allowed for same-sex relationships prior to Stardew Valley.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
Yeah. So yeah. And on that note, Pioneers of Olive Town feels like they took one step forward and two steps back with a lot of things, and I'm really cranky about it and sad. Apparently, the head of Marvelous decided to shake things up by putting together a team to develop a slice of life farming game, and the people on that team had never developed a slice of life farming game before. So because
he told me that they'd never played one before.
Maybe it was that. I may be mixing two things up, but point is, he wanted a team who didn't have preconceptions about slice of life farming games.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Because he hoped to innovate a bunch of things, and there are some like interesting choices they make with it, but like there's a lot of very frustrating things, and I just got so frustrated today I just took it off my Switch.
Wow.
Yeah, I just got pissed, and I'm like, fuck this, I'm gonna go play a Harvest Moon game with actual good quality of life use, like innovation.
I did get this game today for both the girls, and both of them were already like, can we play Minecraft together? And I was like, but...
You know what, Fortuan? One of the things that keeps pissing me off about this game is that the trees grow back so fucking fast. You know how like you always have the dilapidated farm?
Yeah.
And you gotta like rebuild it? So of course you have that. Here's the thing. Within like 2 days, the trees are growing back, the weeds are back, the rocks are back. So your girls can chop down the trees to their heart's content.
Yeah. I mean,
That's a good plan.
Emery will like it. Don't get me wrong. And we did play Minecraft today together, but like, I got it as like a back to school present, and they both were just like, I just don't feel like playing it right now. And I was like, come on.
Story of Seasons Trio of Towns is so far peak Harvest Moon experience to me.
Okay.
Well, actually, Stardew Valley is peak Harvest Moon experience, but if you're talking about mainline, made by Marvelous Harvest Moon games, then it's Story of Seasons Trio of Towns.
Right.
And they took so many backward steps with Pioneers of Olive Town. So I really like the team that made Trio of Towns is still like together. They're still working on things at Marvelous. They're working on the next sort of Trio of Towns type game. And I'm kind of just waiting on that to come out because I'm pretty disappointed with Pioneers of Olive Town as like someone with a ton of experience in this genre.
Okay.
But that's all to say that Stardew Valley is the best Harvest Moon knockoff, and it basically defines the genre to an entire generation of gamers, and I love that game so much. I'll keep buying it on different platforms to keep giving Eric Barone my money.
Fair. Yeah, and that was the one I had marked down. If Pan doesn't say this, I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do. No,
yeah, that was the first one I thought of.
Yeah, I expected so, but I was like, because I was like, yeah, this is a clear answer, even to me. I was like, but I'm not gonna write it down because Pan has to have this. Like it's there. I do not want to poach one of Pan's. So,
well, go ahead and say what you have if you have anything to say about it.
I mean, you've said more than I would ever say about the genre. It's the only game in the whole genre that I finished. I will say that. I had a 300-hour save, which Emery has now subsequently deleted.
Wow.
But,
big oof. That's a mega oof.
First try at 3 years, grandfather approved my farm. I married the blonde girl.
I remember that.
The ex-wife who was with me at the time did not appreciate that because she was not blonde, and she was like, "What, you want to marry a blonde person?" I was like, "What? It's a video game. Are you a video game? Like, what are we doing here?"
Yeah, that's insane.
Haley, that's her name, Haley, and I don't know. I thought it was funny. I think Haley had some amazing character development that not a lot of people see because they all go for the weird girl who eats rocks, I guess. I think Haley went from like entirely like standoffish and prissy and stuff like that to actually realizing that, it takes hard work to do what you want to do. And she was actually able to become a photographer with you and stuff. And she'd actually go out and take pictures and stuff instead of just walking around. I actually liked it. So there you go.
I like the sexy writer with the long, luscious hair.
Oh yeah, the Fabio. I called him Fabio. I don't
Yep.
remember. I don't remember his
That's
name.
exactly Elliot.
Elliot. Yeah.
Yes, he's very much pixel art Fabio.
Yeah, he's Fabio that lives on the beach. Like he just has the built-in hair in the wind, like the waves crashing. That's just his life.
I remember like not paying too much attention to like what was going on and just being like, I'm gonna try to get with this girl, and Chelsea being like, Steve, he's married, or she's married, and I'm like, oh, how about this girl? She's also married. You go to her house and there's another guy living there and sleeping in her bed. I'm like, I don't break into her house. How would I know that?
Right. Yeah.
That was my experience trying to find a wife in Stardew Valley.
Well,
Chelsea just telling me everyone I went for is already married.
Well, there's plenty of mods out there where people have built in like various divorce storylines for Pierre and Carolyn and all even like the old couple.
God, I love voice-acted games, but the thing about text-based games is that you can mod in whatever the fuck you want into the story.
It's true.
Oh yeah, there's tons of them out there.
Okay. All right. So Steve, what's your number 2? Sorry.
That's my number 2. By the way, all right, one complete circuit took us 55 minutes. We all have 5 games, so this should only be another 275 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't have as much to say about my games. Also, I got 2 more.
No, I don't either.
Oh, mine was super short because I died in the middle of talking about it. So.
All right, my next game is
Hearthstone.
Hearthstone.
We talked about this. My brother and I
suspected it. I suspected you'd talk about this.
Not as much as it's like it is a better game than Magic the Gathering, but I'm saying it is a better computer game than like Magic the Gathering Duel of the Planeswalkers 2013, which was what was out when Hearthstone came out.
And we did specifically say that, yes. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, Duels of the Planeswalker 2013.
Yep.
I tried to like it.
2013 was my favorite.
We played it.
But yeah, just I loved that it was. I mean, I played Hearthstone very heavily for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Then after Ben Brode left, I don't know, the quality just started lacking, and I just didn't have as much fun.
Yeah.
But I just loved that it was designed from the ground up to be a computer game. Like, all the phase management in Magic just makes it super cumbersome on a computer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every time they do something, if you have untapped mana, a timer is going to go off so that you have a chance to interrupt. And it's like, okay, they played a spell. Wait 5 seconds so the other person can interrupt. All right, then they played a creature. Wait 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Then they played another creature. In Hearthstone, like, whatever, you just play these cards. You can't interrupt. If an interrupt's happening, it's a secret. It's going to trigger automatically. And that's even part of the strategy, is that you can force an opponent's secret to trigger when they don't want it to trigger. I love that they just did all this crazy stuff that you can only do in a computer game. Where they're like, yeah, this card just gives you a random legendary. Like, there's no way you could do that with physical Magic the Gathering.
Right.
Yeah.
This gives you a different card that's in a total different deck. You get like a Warlock card when you're a Ranger or something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Or like, Total Biscuits, like Lore Walker Cho, King Mukla combo that just like you keep playing bananas and copying the bananas into your opponent's hand so that they can't draw cards.
Just
Like, it's like that crazy bullshit. All the fun animations, like, when you can get Voltron to go off and you get the 5 mechs and they like, it starts playing a theme song and they all fuse together.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so much stuff in it that I mean, I've heard really good things about Magic Arena. I have not looked at it at all, but there's just so much stuff that Hearthstone had that like was so cool and so innovative, and I was like, why would I ever play Duel of the Planeswalkers again when this exists?
Yeah.
Also, just some stuff as a game that I liked quite a lot. I like that you just gain a mana each turn instead of having to draw for land, and like a third of your games are kind of automatically decided of this player drew the right number of lands and this player did not draw the right number of lands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's less management. Yeah.
And I like that you can attack with your hero. I think that's just a cool mechanic. I wish that was in Magic the Gathering. That
It's
like
kinda
you have attack and you can take some extra health to kill something. Like I think that's a neat mechanic. I wish that there was something like that in Magic.
I have dived. I don't know if you heard, Steve, because Pam was out last week, but I talked a little bit about this last week. I have dived hard into a new TCG called Flesh and Blood. And
I have not heard of this.
Flesh and Blood, you play as different heroes. So you have like, it's kind of like Hearthstone in that your deck is a hero and you have cards that match that hero's class. There's a little bit more to it. For instance, Chauncey's main deck is a light. What is it?
Light Illusionist. So I can have Light Illusionist, Light Illusionist, and General cards.
Yeah. Whereas I'm
Okay, so Light Illusionist is its own specific thing.
Yeah, there's
But Light.
is unique, and Illusionist
Okay.
is unique.
Okay, is that a thing with like everything? Like, is there Dark Illusionist specific things, and then there's also
There's-
Dark?
No,
there was like
Illusionist?
Shadow Brute is the other one. There's a plain Brute, and then there's a Shadow Brute, and there's a plain Rune Blade, and there's a Shadow Rune Blade. There are different heroes.
Okay.
But then they have cards that are like, they're named too. So the one that I am using right now is a Ranger, and I have cards that say her name is Azalea, and a card that says Azalea Specialization, as it can only be in Azalea's deck. Stuff like that. So you get sort of like specific cards that for that, but then there are also general like light cards that he can use and general illusionist cards
Sure.
he can use. Stuff like that. Like I said, it's a new game. It released late 2019. Was its first
3
set.
months before the world
Okay.
ended.
Yeah.
It was
Okay,
very
so that's
bad
not
timing.
that's not like super new for a TCG.
No. It also kind of makes me think, talking about Hearthstone, I just saw an ad recently that it was for Lich King, something for the Lich King, but it definitely wasn't the original Warcraft physical card game. But we played around with that a little bit, and having played that and being in Hearthstone and realizing it just did that better too.
Mm-hmm.
Or yeah, I like that Hearthstone used all the art. So something fun. I brought a prop.
Oh, I was about to go find it. A friend of ours bought this for him at a convention years and years ago.
Yeah, in like 2007, a friend got me this Leroy Jenkins print from the WoW TCG game, and since Hearthstone just used all the just all the same art assets originally, then they started making their own.
Because they already owned them.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's the same company, but that's the same thing that's on this beer glass that I'm drinking out of, now,
Yeah.
even though this is Hearthstone beer glass. So
So yeah, we have this printed Leroy Jenkins, and it was like, wow, where'd you get a printed like Hearthstone card?
from like PAX East 2007, like
Yeah.
maybe 2006. I don't know. It was one of those 2 years for sure, but way back.
Wow.
That's something we need to put in like a CGC case, Steve.
Oh, but you know what the thing is? What's like terrible is so I bought this frame because I like measured it and I knew they were roughly the same size. This thing did not fit in the frame, so I used scissors and cut it to fit it into the frame. I mean, like, you'd never know, except, I mean, like, the sides are white. That's why, because, like, literally the top is cut, so it fits.
Well,
You're
it's like,
freaking out, but like I've had this literally longer than I've known you, and you've never noticed. Like, as far as a thing on my wall goes, it looks fine.
Mm-hmm.
We just had a long conversation this morning about some of the collectibles we own.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I was just as a sidebar, since I started buying collectible comics like occasionally, I was curious what the cheapest like official CGC graded comic I could find on eBay is. And somebody is selling like
Whoa. For context, it costs about $50 to get a comic CGC graded.
well, at a convention it does. If you are like a member and you pay the shipping costs and stuff, it's like 20.
Okay.
But if you go to a convention, it's like 50. But for $25, somebody was selling a graded 3.5 out of 10 copy of like 1973 DC Comics Girl Adventure number 75 or something. And like,
Okay.
what the hell is this comic? Why does, like, I guess not why does it exist, but why did somebody get it graded? Just some random ass issue. It's not a number one. It's not an annual. Like,
3.5 is a real shit grade.
yeah, like,
I don't know if either of you know
And then-
anything about grading quality, but
well, I can guess.
Chance Wood from Magic. Magic probably has a similar one.
yeah, CGC grades Magic cards too. I believe.
CGC grades Magic cards as well.
But I'm like, why did somebody take this shitty comic in this shitty condition and spend the $20 to get it graded and then try to sell it on eBay for like a $5 profit overall? I'm so curious what story led to this like listing. I'll never know.
Maybe it
But
was
it's a thing.
something
It
they
exists.
personally enjoyed going through financial stuff,
Maybe.
and they just need to sell stuff.
Maybe. I don't
Who
think
knows?
anyone's gonna buy it.
Who
I'm
knows?
not gonna buy it.
Yeah, we were also like, who the hell is gonna buy that?
You know, people buy weird shit. I mean,
People do buy weird shit, but like, I did not know that DC Comics made a like Girls Adventures something in the 70s, but apparently they did, and apparently it ran for like over 70 issues somehow.
yeah. I mean, comics are weird.
Yeah, comics are weird. That is very true.
Okay. I agree with you on Hearthstone doing it better than Magic Arena. Or was it? Not Arena, but the...
Duel of the
of
Planeswalkers
Planeswalkers.
2013.
yeah. I agree. I played a lot more Hearthstone than I played Duels of the Planeswalkers. I think,
I didn't know you played Hearthstone.
yeah, I did for a time.
I think Cham was in the closed beta.
I was in the alpha. Yeah.
You're in the alpha? I was in the closed beta.
Yeah.
I did not know anybody in the alpha.
Yeah, it's just part of that Blizzard sign up for our beta program stuff, and I got put into the alpha. Same thing happened with me and Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, Heroes of the Storm, I was in the alpha for that as well. But
Yeah, the OTK Hunter that was like super early was what I played.
I don't remember an OTK Hunter. I remember like a...
Mm-hmm.
What was the combo with that?
The buzzard plus a bunch of hyenas and the
Release the Hounds.
And the Unleash the Hounds, yeah.
Yep.
I
guess that
mean,
makes
you did
sense.
like 18 in one turn, but you did hit the you take two button a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Was most of the game until it was time.
Yeah, you would just
Okay.
use your hero power up until
Okay, but that... Okay, so that... Okay,
It was called
but it
an
wasn't a
OT.
30 dam... Yeah, but it wasn't like the modern like 30 damage one turn.
No.
It was.
I was like, what the hell in classic Hearthstone?
yeah, no, it was there. That's what I played, and then they nerfed the hell.
No,
out
okay.
because the
Yeah,
buzzard,
well,
the
and-
buzzard became a
yeah, the
5
buzzard-
cost instead of
It did.
2.
Instead of 2, which was the right move. That was stupidly good. There should not be a 5-mana combo that gives you 4 cards and lets you draw 3 cards. Like, that's absurd.
That's when I stopped playing. Is when they killed that. So we're talking beta is when I stopped playing.
Yep. No, I played until like 2018, and I spent $80 on the Boomsday expansion, and I hated it. And I had the biggest like buyer's remorse. And I don't think I think I kept playing after that, but I didn't spend any more money on it. But like, it's really hard to make competitive decks playing free to play.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
We might have bought in for the Battlegrounds thing. I don't remember if we paid in any money for that.
I had so much gold saved up. I used gold to pay for that. But no, I have not spent a single dollar on Hearthstone since that $80 Boomstay expansion.
I played off and on since.
Yeah, I have too, but just the money, like.
Yeah, I never gave them any money ever. So I didn't.
And you could get away with that in Classic, but then when they started releasing 3 expansions a year, like, you kind of had to, if you wanted to like play ladder, which I thought ladder was super fun. So
Yeah.
and I am like, and compared to Magic, where like I was either buying a box for $100 or buying like $100 worth of specific cards, spending quite a bit less money on Hearthstone to scratch that same itch. So I was okay with it until it just
Stopped being fun.
Yeah. I mean, I have never spent a lot on Magic myself. My brother and I were talking about this recently.
I was gonna say, Chance is hanging his head and looking away from the camera right now.
Oh, dude, the whole
I don't
right
know the
side of his
number.
camera is cards. The whole like that whole thing is cards.
There's like 9 totes there, and 8
Yeah,
of them are.
Yeah.
No, I know he's a cardboard crack addict.
So for me, I have never been that attached to a card game. Again, we're coming back to Flesh and Blood. I have already bought 6 boxes of this stuff. Like,
wow.
I am in. And I don't know how well it's going to go because it's new. I got our local card game store guy who sells the stuff. I got him moving on becoming an official dealer for it. Like an official.
And they already were like holding it and selling it, but it's going to be nice having them potentially be able to hold events.
Right. And I'm working with him to actually do the events. Like, I am going to be running the events along with him to do this game. And we're potentially talking about making another podcast show that is just Flesh and Blood and becoming
That sounds fun.
possibly an official content creator for Flesh and Blood. Like on their site.
Dude, you should do it. Go for it. That reminded me though, when Hearthstone started doing official events, like right when the game officially released, I like emailed all the libraries in my area, and I talked to my mom who was librarian, and I'm like, will you host like a Hearthstone tournament, like a sanctioned Hearthstone tournament? Because there was like a special hero you could only get by going to these things.
Yeah.
And they're all like, yeah, we'd love to. And then I sent them the like, here's the steps you need to do, and then they didn't respond. None of them. Like, all of them said yes.
Not
your
even
mom.
his mom.
Yeah, my mom, like, just didn't respond. Or she's like, oh, cool, I'll talk to our person about that.
I'll
And
see you
like,
at Christmas.
We saw her way more often than that back then.
So
We
Mo,
see
she
her
was-
way more often than that
yeah,
now.
well, she was like, I forwarded it to our person in charge of events, and she'll look into it when she has time.
Yep. Got stonewalled by your mom. I'm sorry, man. Oh man.
We did host an official Hearthstone event at our house.
It wasn't an official one, but like, we had an unofficial one with like.
Oh, that's right.
They
We
were
just
like,
copied
you
the
can- they
poster
were
and
like-
printed it.
No, they were like, if you want to have an official or unofficial event, here is like a PDF of stuff you can print. And we went to the print shop and like printed it out, and we have a poster that's like Steve and Chelsea's game room, like whether it's like April whatever 2014.
It was
I don't remember the date. It was like the official release date.
It says the Magic Room on it because that's what we called it back then.
Oh
'Cause
yeah,
it was
before
just-
it was a magic room, it was a game room.
Yeah, no,
I
it-
just said that backwards.
Yeah, yes, you did.
Before it was a game room, it was a magic room.
Yeah, because all we did was play Magic the Gathering in there, and then we started buying board games. And
Your money goes
Listeners,
somewhere. The money goes somewhere. That's
yeah, listeners, I'm pointing over my shoulder to a massive board game collection.
I mean, you can
Now
tell
it goes to
where my
comic.
money usually goes, and it's the video games. Like, um. So, anyways, so my number two. Hopefully, I can talk about it a little longer this time. Um, is one of my favorite genre, the ARPG. Um, I'm going to
Wait,
say
is it Torchlight?
no.
Just throwing that out.
I'm going to say that Titan Quest outdid Diablo 2. And
Okay.
Titan
All right.
Quest is still a ongoing game, whereas Diablo 2 still is as well. But Diablo 2 has a lot of quality of life things that don't really stack up anymore. And Titan Quest took what Diablo 2 did and made a very interesting and different experience out of it. So, for listeners who haven't heard me talk about Titan Quest before, most people know what Diablo 2 is. It's an ARPG, hack and slash. You go kill monsters, get loot, yada yada. You choose between the set characters, the barbarian and whatnot. They look the same based on what you pick. They're specific characters. Even though they're generic and they don't have a lot to them, but they have backstories. So like the barbarian always looks the same. The necromancer always looks the same. Yada yada. Titan Quest did this thing where you start classless, and you pick a mastery, and then at level 8 you pick a second mastery, and those two masteries together make your class. So you're basically combining two different classes, what would normally be a class in Diablo, and making a whole new class. And it made a lot more customization for your character, and a lot more along the same lines. But they still had the same ARPG formula where you're going around killing monsters, getting loot, playing through a story. You do it 3 times. Normal, medium, hard is basically what you can boil it down to, but everyone had their own unique names. It was normal, nightmare, hell for Diablo 2, and Titan Quest, it's like the legendary is the last one. It's like normal, mythic, heroic, and then legendary. And another thing that I'm not sure how much this occurs in Diablo 2. I know there's some changes. The higher difficulties, you basically get reskins of monsters that are more difficult to sort of denounce like that they're more difficult. They have different names. Like the skeletons are now like, something boneheads or whatever. And then you have in Titan Quest, you'll have stuff like there's whole bosses that are unique to the legendary difficulty. So
The Hydra.
the Hydra, which I have never fought. I have never taken a character far enough
Really?
to get there. Yeah.
It's just super disappointing because it's like the box art has the Hydra, so you have to get to final playthrough, like halfway through Act 1 to get to the first Hydra. And I don't know. I mean, it feels a lot more like you're choosing. If you're really familiar with Diablo, you have those 3 skill trees. You're basically choosing, like, if you were playing Diablo and there were only 8 trees total, choosing individual trees. You're not really getting all the variety that one class would have. Like, You're not getting all the magic variety a sorceress would have if you choose the storm magic, which is ice and lightning. But I feel like you're getting 1.5, maybe? Depending on the specialty. But the thing he's not touched on that I think I would have said is my first breath of there's things I like a lot better because it has amazing ragdoll physics for the era that it's in.
Yeah.
Like,
There you go.
That's
That's not something you typically see in ARPGs.
like
No.
the beginning of the game, picking defense specialty, so you get shield slams, and early on, like your little skill that does like this % of weapon damage plus 4 to 5 extra damage starts overkilling things because you were going like whack whack, they're dead. Now you're just going pang, and it became a game at some point that you'd level up really high, you go back to the first area, you find the first monster, shield bash it, and see if you can keep up with it as it flies through the air and actually see it land.
Mm-hmm. And then all sorts of crazy things, like if you'd hit it against a tree, and because of the momentum, the head and the feet would go long, like around the tree, and the physics of the game would stretch the monster super wide. Yeah.
Just like
Just stretch the monster out like gum. It was all
I think
sorts
it
of crazy
also
stuff.
it had
That
good
is
timing
wonderful.
for us in gaming. Like we had got to that place that we really didn't understand with Diablo 2 that it was pick your your rune words. Your strength only needs to be 50 if you're a sorceress. Like we just didn't know that kind of information about the game. Whereas Titan Quest felt a lot more like you could bumble through and keep upping your strength and not be backhanded by enemies one-shotting you all of a sudden a nightmare. Like
Right. Yeah.
I think it was
Gotcha.
kinder for a medium level of information.
So I'm not really following. So chat said every game has something about Diablo. Can you
I think that's when he was talking, when you were talking about that, like there was the different difficulty levels and the enemies change a little
Reskin.
bit. And like,
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, the difference is that Titan Quest actually does something with it. There's unique bosses on harder difficulties, whereas
Yeah, like the Mana Core, I think, is the first extra one that gets added in.
right, yeah, the Act 2 Mana Core gets added into heroic and above, and
didn't Diablo have that? I mean, it's been a very long time since I played Diablo 2, but I thought that was a thing. Okay.
Nope. It had-
I've
Is that a
only
thing in
played-
Diablo 3?
nope.
I felt like they're okay.
Diablo 3 certainly not. Diablo 3 is taking a really weird path these days, where there's 19 difficulties or 20. I think it's 19.
You have a difficulty setting that you choose. There's no longer multiple playthroughs through difficulties.
Right.
Like it was
Okay,
really
yeah.
neat.
But I was saying, I thought on different difficulties that there were different bosses.
Mm-mm.
Maybe I played it once, and then I played it again when the expansion came out. And
these
that's
are-
confusing me.
These are
could be.
optional
Maybe.
bosses too. They weren't story bosses or anything.
Sure.
And like I said, I've never done the last one's Hydra. That is something I would like to eventually do. Right now, I am playing through Wolcen again because Wolcen got a lot of updates, and it was a game of the similar genre that we kind of put down because it had too many bugs at the time. I
I mean, that's like the end game, and that's the only reason I have a nice gaming computer, because like, ooh, I can't run this.
yeah, so we both like got these beefed up computers, and then we ended up not enjoying the game that much because it was so buggy. I mean, hell, Chauncey had a build that you get down to the end of one of the trees, and that node that he was going for straight up bug, didn't work, 100%, did nothing. He spent
Wow.
like a whole.
There's like this
character-
really good like push me pull me system between rage and willpower.
Mhm.
So like magic attacks cost willpower, so thus they generate rage. And your like basic attacks with a staff have the opposite effect. You generate willpower that's spend rage kind of.
Okay,
And
sure.
you have the opposite for melee and physical stuff. So it was this really neat thing. You're like every time you use a skill that generates one, it adds to the counter. So you're trying to keep the counter from 1 to 10 from rage to willpower at 4 to 7.
Okay.
And it was just like a flat 50% damage boost and some other stuff. And then like, man, I just don't feel like I'm doing anything. I feel really weird having a sword in one hand and a caster
Battles.
offhand.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I getting for this? Looked in the patch notes, nothing. Cool, I'm done.
Yeah. It just straight up
That sucked.
was just bugged and didn't work.
Is there like a mod that would fix that, maybe?
They
It's
have
done now
since-
through updates, but
Yeah.
that was
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
the
early
unfortunate
COVID,
thing,
I think.
Yeah, it was early COVID
Okay,
when
sure.
it released. And the problem is this game was just buggy as hell when it released too. You would get stuff like you would start a dungeon and the game would crash sometimes. It'd just be like wolfen.exe died. I had it crash while we were waiting to record today. It still has some bugs, but overall it's a fun game. And like Chauncey's saying, the resource system for the thing is amazing because it's a push me pull me between willpower and rage, and every class has the same stuff. It's just if you want to use melee stuff, you want to use rage, and if you want to use spells, you use willpower. And everyone starts with 100%.
That's really cool.
Everyone starts with 100% willpower. So with melee fighters, you want a basic attack until you get some more rage. And then
What's the MSRP on this? This sounds really cool.
oh gosh, I bought it at full price when it came out, so it was like 60 or maybe
It's on
40.
Steam.
Yeah, it's on Steam. Unfortunately, not on anything else right now.
I don't have Steam on this computer, so
I can't look
I
it
can
up.
look it up.
Yeah, I was like, I can't look it up without
What was it?
putting it
What
on
was
the
again?
screen.
I was in the restroom for several minutes. What were you guys talking about?
Wolcen. Wolcen. Which is actually not what I was talking about. It was Titan Quest, but yeah. Titan Quest.
It's currently $40. You can buy it. With the OST for $47.
I wouldn't bother with the OST. I'm sorry. Just don't. It's not remarkable. It's got an interesting story. You start out as what you would call a purifier, basically witch hunters, only to find out that you're blessed with the power of these things you're hunting. So you're like, oh shit, what now? And you have like a quote unquote brother and sister, and you're called the Children of Hemlock, which is Hemlock's like the big guy of the witch hunter army. So like, there's actually some really cool story stuff there. It's worth like one playthrough. Chance and I doing a second playthrough now. Just skip all of it, but and it's going to actually, if you do play this, I will say this one tip: it's going to ask you between two different campaigns, Classic and Blood Trail. Always do Blood Trail, because all Blood Trail does is just add extra elements to what the original campaign did. You're not losing anything by picking Blood Trail. You're just getting more content. So
more experience, more loot. It's always the goal.
Yeah, and what brought me back to playing this title specifically is they did an update that buffed summoned minions. So like summoning spells that would raise, like there's 3 that I know of. That's raise skeleton archer, and raise golem. All 3 of them got severely buffed because they used to not be very good. So yeah, there you go. Titan Quest over Diablo 2, which we ended up talking more about Wolcen. So there you go. What's your
Diablo 2 remake later this month.
It's true. I will be playing D2R.
I'm going to do a little bit of a weird one. If anyone's played much Warcraft, Starcraft, you're familiar with a mod that was called Defense of the Ancients.
I think I know where you're going with this.
I think so too, and I was thinking about it. Keep going.
And I'm going to have to say I think League of Legends did it better. There's been times that they took the crown as the most viewed television event for the year for their World's Championships, and as someone who played...
They still kick the Super Bowl's ass every year.
Well, there's people not here that care about the game, so it's not a really fair comparison. But yeah, there's like... My memory of playing Defensive Agents, it was like, this seems really cool. I like the idea. And it feels like they did what they could with a mod inside of an existing game. And League of Legends actually creating a game with those foundations. And that's kind of a gripe I've had sometimes. There's a game that was brought up to me recently again, From Dust. It's a really cool like physics engine, but they forgot to make an interesting game with it. This came out like probably 2006.
Yeah.
But yeah, like League, it's evolved so much, and I've been a light player, if at all, several years, but it's definitely something that I can say. Basically, a month of playing Dota, I can look back at League and go, they just realized it in every direction more fully, and it feels like a game that came from a mod, and I can accept that that's just always going to probably feel better.
Yeah. We both played League quite a bit. Especially when we first moved from my apartment to the house. Like, I remember we were queuing up, Chance, Ryan, a good friend of ours, and myself. 3 of us queuing up in ranked matches and stuff, too. You know, you and him doing duos, me joining when I could. Played a lot.
The old 3v3 before they killed it, too.
I mean, probably a good year and a half. That was my main.
I didn't know there was 3v3 in League. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a different map. There's actually characters that their lore has been changed for that map being axed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
it was a little brutal. It was like going into that as ranked. Like, yeah, we know how to play these characters. We kind of understand what we're doing, and just.
Yeah.
I will never prop myself up and say, I deserve to have been ranked really well. I've always been just kind of middle, probably better than somebody who can barely make the clicks, but it was fun. I just enjoy strategy games and being able to do those kind of things, and it was really popular, so it was nice that there's always people to play with. But definitely now I'm more into they always have goofy game modes, and
That's where it's at.
really there's a game mode where your team kind of votes, but you all are the same character. Normally, you pick a character, only one person can be that character.
Yeah,
But there's game modes where everybody is the same person.
that's awesome.
So some of the popular
Is it
picks-
both teams? Everyone is the same person, or each team is one?
So each team picks to be the person they're going to be. But there are times, I think, with some of the modes, it can be all 10 players are the same person. Just accidentally, you can both pick the same person.
Okay, accidentally. Okay, gotcha. But it's not the okay.
But it doesn't lock the other team in.
Right, yeah, it doesn't prevent them.
My problem,
Like some of the early...
I was gonna say my problem I always had with League and ranked and stuff like that is I really get behind and really love the shitty characters, and not on purpose. It's just oh, there's a scorpion that kidnaps people. I love him. No, he's not viable anymore. You're talking season 2, Cham. Get out of here.
Yeah, there's definitely a standard magic element to it. Yeah, you could do that last week, but people discovered this card again, so you can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
it feels like there's this very evolving meta to it where either you ride the wave or you accept the sadness.
Yeah, I'm also learning that I'm already doing that in Flesh and Blood. The hero I chose to put all of my stock into is the most underdog hero there is, and I'm like, well,
you can't put stock into things in competitive games. You just can't.
You can't care.
Not
you
if you want to win. Yeah.
It's my first deck.
Yeah, you can choose to care or you can choose to win. These are your choices.
There you go.
When ages and ages ago, for a very brief time, I played semi-competitively Heroes of the Storm for a couple weeks with a good friend of ours and some very competitive people that he plays online games with.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that an update basically made my favorite hero be unfucking stoppable.
Oh, nice.
And it was a wonderful 2 weeks for me being in Heroes of the Storm. It was Kale Philos, and they made this update where he can throw this fireball, a teeny little fireball on someone, and it creates a dot. And when the dot ends, it explodes and deals a bunch of damage. And any enemy teammates who are damaged by that explosion then have the dot.
And
then that can just spiral
absurd.
out of control. Yes, it gets absurd. That can spiral out of control very quickly.
Especially if they're not reading the patch notes and don't know that.
Especially because I can throw the dot on one guy, then throw the dot on the next guy, and then they can run around I can throw the dot on every teammate, and then they can just all run around like jackasses reinfecting each other.
Mm-hmm.
So for a wonderful 2 weeks, I had the best meta team wiper.
Is this one Brent?
Yes, this is what I played with Brent and Seta.
No, but I remember Brent for a time. He was top 100 in HOTS.
Yeah, but he actually didn't play Kael'thas.
He played whatever his team comp needed.
He played whatever the team comp needed. I was just really good at Kael'thas.
Mm-hmm.
And Rhaegar had this one heal where it was very skill based if you could do it right.
Mm-hmm.
And I just happened to be good at that. So Rhaegar was not a competitive healer unless you were really, really, really skilled with him, and I really was. So when they needed a healer and I was Rhaegar, the team would give me a bunch of shit. And I'm no, trust me. And they're fuck you. And then I'd be like, hey, you remember when you said fuck you to the healer?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to win this game, so I'm still going to heal you.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a magical couple of weeks where the meta favored the two characters that I played a bunch.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to just attach myself to a character and be like, oh, they suck and I love them. But it just happens to be the ones that I really love be the ones that suck usually. And that happened really hard in League of Legends a couple times. I did have some good characters that were viable. Not not to beat the pun, but like my big character that was meta that I loved was Vi in League of Legends. She was a bruiser that did top lane. Like my top lane picks were always pretty meta, but like jungles was where I was like, I like this jungle, and it's like, no, Cham, stop, no. So,
Cham, it's not about having fun; it's about winning. Got to remember that.
Unfortunately.
And now to back myself up on Flesh and Blood, it's a very brand new game, and I'm still learning how to play it very well. I only have one deck that is completely built, so. And unfortunately, it just seems like that deck is the one that's the hardest to play right now. It's just
also
like,
awful against what I have. Is the
oh
only thing
yeah,
that's
dude. Chance and I did a practice game together. He freaking wiped the floor with me, and I was like, I can do nothing about this. Like, there's nothing that I can do.
Can you? Is there like a sideboard rule?
Kind of, yeah. Like
Can
there's
you sideboard stuff in that would help with that matchup? Maybe.
Unfortunately, no. So like, what his
Oh, wow.
on what his deal is he has a bunch of these high attack cards, right? And they basically have this line of subtext on them that says, "Hey, if you block with with a card that has 6 or more attack, I go away. You can't do it." Like, it's basically
dispelled the illusion.
Yeah, you're dispelling the illusion. The highest I can get is 5 in the whole breadth of my cards. There is nothing that goes above 5 naturally, and I'm like,
I guess, I mean, I don't know this game at all, but there's no sidebar cards that have 6. Like, I don't,
He could have some generic cards that
have to
enough.
have some generic cards in there that do it. And yes, those would probably be sidebar cards I'd put in, but I'm still learning, so I'm still trying to get what my main board is anyways. So
Sure. Have you been saying sidebar this whole time? Side deck?
yeah.
God damn it.
It's okay. I mean, it's kind of funky.
It's
but
Pelican Town, not Stardew Valley.
That's true. I can't believe you messed that up.
I'm also starting to wonder if he's already getting
It's okay.
what is it? Kickbacks from Flesh and Blood. This is like the 3rd time he's brought it up.
Dude,
I know, right?
Yeah, bro, give us that sweet flesh and blood money. Come on.
Show me the
Hey.
poster. What are they giving
hey,
you?
if we get stuff from it, that'll happen. I'm just saying that's what I've been into mostly. Like, I'll be honest,
No,
I've
that's
been
cool,
playing
that's
games
cool.
and doing this card game mostly. So
Yeah.
But have you heard the word of our Lord and Savior, flesh and blood?
By the way, new set comes out on the 24th.
That thing kind of
They're
worked
killing
because the flesh and blood of like
it's actually called
I know.
It's called Flesh and Blood because they want people to play in person, and it was a thing.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Which is cool.
Maybe not the
It's
best
really
thing
weird
to
learn.
advertise right when COVID happened.
Yeah,
You said
no, I
this
was
came
say,
out 4 months before
yeah,
COVID.
it came out
Yeah.
just before COVID, and it's called Flesh and Blood because they want people to play together, and it's just like, oof, ugh. No wonder I haven't heard about it until now. Oof, but
I think it's a good response, though. Like, I appreciate that Magic lives more because of the online, but as someone who has a hideous investment in paper Magic, all the online push is just like, but no, I don't want to buy these things again.
Well, they saw Hearthstone made all that money, and then they were like,
me too.
"We need to do better."
I want in on it. Yeah,
But yeah,
League of Legends.
League of Legends is better
You
than a
guys
game
remember
mod.
what was that game called? Scrolls. Did you guys ever play that?
That didn't sound familiar.
So
It
Scrolls
was an
a-
Elder Scrolls Hearthstone knockoff.
No, that's not at all what it was. It was famous because Bethesda sued. It was made by Mojang, by the way, the people that made Minecraft.
Oh, my bad. I got mixed up.
And it was just called Scrolls. Bethesda sued them because they were like, you can't have a video game that's called Scrolls because people will think it's Elder Scrolls.
Yeah,
I don't remember,
I remember
how
the
that
lawsuit.
resolved.
I remember the lawsuit. They lost.
But Scrolls,
Elder-
I was thinking of
Okay.
Blades.
Bethesda
I was
lost.
thinking of Blades.
but Scrolls was super awesome. It was like a tactical TCG. And there was like, we're not doing pay to win. Like, you can unlock 1 card a day by playing the game. Like,
Nice.
you buy the game for $20, and then like you unlock a card a day by playing. It was super limited what you could unlock. I don't know how you would catch up if you got into the
Behind.
game late,
Yeah.
but it was like placement mattered, and like depending on where your units were placed, they could attack certain units on the other, and some would have AOE, and some would have like high damage single target. It was awesome. And then Hearthstone came out, and nobody cared about scrolls anymore. And if it ever made it out of beta, it lasted like a year, and then they just shut down all the servers.
Poor scrolls. Gosh.
But it was really cool. And then Hearthstone came out, and I never played it again. And everyone I've talked to that played scrolls has the exact same story.
I see a kitty.
So, League of Legends was Chauncey's second. So,
Oof.
Pan, do you have a second one?
Yes. So this is the one that I freaked out earlier and remembered.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve's gonna like facepalm and be like, "Oh my God, Chelsea, Planet Zoo!"
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's
yeah, I got this when you were talking
that makes
about
sense.
this. Yeah.
I played this game so hard for a couple weeks. Good Lord, is this game such a better version of Zoo Tycoon in every way possible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I did a little bit of research into Zoo Tycoon while you guys were talking about Diablo. Zoo Tycoon and the history of Planet Zoo. So, Zoo Tycoon, actually, before I launch into this, so for about the first 20 years of my life, I grew up wanting to become a zookeeper.
Mm-hmm.
And then midway through college, I slightly changed majors, because zookeepers make poverty wages.
Yep.
So, and I wanted to not. So, anyways, so Zoo Tycoon, it came out when I was about 11 years old, and I got it for Christmas the year I was like 11. And that was just it. That was the only game I needed for years, Zoo Tycoon. And I got all the expansions, the SeaWorld type expansions and the Jurassic Park expansions. It was fantastic. Zoo Tycoon was an amazing Tycoon game. Then they made Zoo Tycoon 2, which kind of sucked. In my opinion, it kind of sucked. And then Microsoft Studios, who owned the label for Zoo Tycoon, they went to Frontier Developments, and they're like, hey, make a reboot of Zoo Tycoon. So they did, and it sucked so bad. Nobody bought it. Everyone hated it. And Microsoft Studios kind of just, like, killed off the franchise. Yeah, they killed off the franchise, and there were no more Zoo Tycoon games. And there were a couple of shitty knockoffs. And then Frontier Developments, by the way, who have made Planet Coaster.
Mm-hmm.
Spiritual.
I need to play Planet Coaster.
Yes, you do. I was reading a bit about Planet Coaster, and it's been called the greatest Tycoon game.
Wow.
So, anyways, they made Planet Coaster, and then using the same Frontier Developments, the same people who kind of shat the bed with the Zoo Tycoon reboot, they're like, all right, Zoo Tycoon fans, we're sorry we killed the genre for you. Here's Planet Zoo, and we're sorry. And Planet Zoo...
Pretty good.
Planet Zoo is like, first off, it's an animal breeding and ecology simulator, and also you have to manage a zoo business, which it's also an in-depth Tycoon game, and it is wonderful. It is everything I could have possibly wanted out of a zoo simulator game. Like, you have to manage like
water, temperature, food. Yep.
And, you get, say you have, like, a herd of zebra that you have. If you got more than 2 male zebras, those male zebras are going to, like, beat the shit out of each other until one of them is the boss zebra. And also, your guests in the park will be unhappy that the zebras are kicking the shit out of each other. Yeah.
That's not the kind of guests I want. I want the bloodbath guests.
Yeah, guests will be unhappy that the zebras are beating the crap out of each other.
This is the opposite, by the way. Remember I was playing Jurassic World Evolution recently? This is the opposite.
Same studio.
Okay, the fans want to see dinosaurs fight. That is like a rating.
Yeah. Jurassic World Evolution was another game that, same developer, same engine, actually.
They're actually coming out with a sequel.
Yes, they are. Jurassic World Evolution was another game that they made with this engine. You can, of course, your animals will breed, and there's like a whole genetics like sub thing where like all your animals have different like gene combinations for like longevity, size, coat coloration, and stuff. And there's mutant colorations. You can get cheetah, like inbred cheetahs with no spots. You can get albino pandas.
Wow.
And there's one sort of big failing to this, but I'll get to that in a minute.
Wait, hold up. Wait. Like, there's a mechanic for like inbreeding in this game?
Oh, Lord, is there?
Wow. Okay.
I didn't get this far. I got through the tutorial.
Good Lord, is there? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with different species, different species can tolerate different levels of inbreeding.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
like
very much a real world thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so like, yeah, each animal has like this like 16-digit sort of like code in its like file, in its like background information, in like the computer that like determines like its genetics, and it gets some from its parents and some from its dad, some from its mom, and some is randomly generated. And if too much of the code aligns with each other, then it'll have inbred traits, and like its longevity will tank and its fertility will tank.
That's
Yeah. So, anyways, your zoo gets more renown the more animals you release into the wild, and some animals are more valuable than others. For example, an elephant is going to be way more valuable than, say, a saltwater crocodile.
Look at all these saltwater crocodiles we released into the wild. You're welcome.
So saltwater crocodiles are a fairly stable species, is why I use them as an example.
Yeah, I know.
It's
like a
imagine
Thompson.
it's
a
just
zoo
funny that it's just this terrible predator.
just releasing a bunch of saltwater crocodiles into the Florida Everglades. Like, you're welcome, nature.
That's the wrong continent!
Yeah, I think they're in South Africa.
Oh, okay.
Something like
Australia, guys.
that. Sure.
I'm not
Steve
gonna
Irwin
apologize.
caught him all the time.
All right.
Okay,
I'll just admit I
we'll
don't
have
know.
to unpack
I
that
was
later.
wrong. Yes. We'll
We'll have to
wrong,
unpack
Steve.
this later. I guarantee you're wrong.
No, I'm not challenging your knowledge of animals. I played Zoo Tycoon for 10 years straight. Like,
I majored in wildlife conservation for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, your zoo gets more renown when you release animals into the wild. Like elephants are more valuable than, or pandas are more valuable than, say, like black bears. Like a black bear,
Sure.
you're not gonna get very many points for a black bear. There's fucking black bears all over the place.
Okay.
So there's that, but also the higher the longevity and fertility score of the animal, the more points you get, and also the younger it is, the more points you get. You can't release baby animals; they have to be adult age, which that varies per animal. Which, if you played the tutorial, you knew that, Fortuan. But yeah, it varies per animal. Like, for example, hippos. No. Galapagos tortoises are a pain in the ass to breed. You know why? They take 27 years to reach breeding age.
that's a long time.
Yeah, it is. I thought I struck gold when, like, my Galapagos tortoises, by the way, they hump like rabbits and just keep spawning offspring. And I've got like 60 baby Galapagos tortoises in this pen. And they just won't age up because it takes 27 years. And I thought I scored big when I finally got like a male with like perfect genetics. I'm like, great, I'll just go buy a bunch of females and stud him out, and we'll bring the Galapagos tortoises back from extinction. But it took 27 years for him to grow up, and by then I just didn't even care about tortoises anymore.
That's
Fuck
probably
it. There's a reason you're going extinct.
yeah. That's probably why they're going extinct. No one can.
Well,
I've had enough of your shit, Galapagos turtles.
for being real, the manager and the owner of the place probably changed by then.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, this game is fantastic. Now, one of my big criticisms of it is the rarer the animal, the more points you get for releasing it into the wild, right?
Sure.
The thing is that albino animals are extremely rare. So you get a shitload of points for releasing an albino animal into the wild.
Okay. That's inbred, right?
They're gonna,
No, not
No.
always. Not always.
Okay.
but
But
they're gonna fucking die.
Yeah, like how fucking long do you think a white zebra is gonna last? The whole thing with the zebra stripes is that it confuses like lions when they're looking at it, so they can't pick out a single zebra.
Yeah.
Or like whatever, like any like a white like snake or whatever, like
Yeah.
any animal, like every animal has some level of camouflage.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Or yeah. How well do you think like a an albino jaguar is going to be able to hunt?
About as well as in a zoo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that bugs me a little. Or like albino hippos are another one. Now with hippos don't really need camouflage. Like nobody hunts hippos. Fucking nobody hunts a hippo.
No, because they'll fucking kill you.
Yeah, but albino animals have extremely high rates of skin cancer because they don't have melanin.
Yeah, makes sense.
By definition, they don't
Sure.
have melanin.
Yeah.
So they have high rates of skin cancer, and hippos in particular, they spend a lot of time in the sun. And so, like, an albino hippo, is that really fit for releasing into the wild?
No, but the game doesn't care. It's points.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
my big criticism of that. But on the scale of criticisms of a zoo simulation game,
Okay.
it has been criticized by the gaming community at large for being too complex. And to that, I, the Crusader Kings player,
Yeah,
say, get good, motherfucker.
You can't tell me Planet Zoo is more complex than Crusader Kings. Like,
It had a learning curve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that learning
has-
curve.
it
but
has
I'm
a learning
pretty sure I am not over yet after the tutorial. I played the tutorial and I'm like, I can tell I have a long way to go on this.
I remember I've tried real hard to get into Europa Universalis.
Mm-hmm.
I played the tutorial and then I watched a 2-hour how to play video where the guy unpaused the game 40 minutes in. And like
Yeah.
and then I played it for 20 hours and I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing in this game.
But yeah, Planet Zoo does the it's a little bit of a stretch to call it a knockoff because the same company was hired to make a Zoo Tycoon reboot.
Mm-hmm.
But they are not the people who made the original Zoo Tycoon game.
Sure. No,
And
I think that works though. Still.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic Tycoon game. It's an absolutely fantastic zoo game.
Okay.
I love it. It's a little hard on the processor when your zoo starts getting a little larger. So you kind of have to like pick and choose. Like you cannot build a zoo with literally every species available in the game. Your computer will melt. Because it's processing all kinds of different animal behaviors and guest interactions and all this other stuff.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't quick when I did it, and that was the tutorial zoo.
Yeah.
And
So
I have a
it
really
gets
balling
yeah.
computer. So.
Yeah, I have a solid one, not like the bestest and greatest, but I've got a solid one, and it gets a little sad when like I run a huge zoo, so I try to keep it smaller.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty.
Chelsea,
So, yeah.
did you ever play Jurassic Park 3 Park Builder on the Game Boy Advance?
No.
This is a game that existed. I played it quite a bit as a kid. And I just looked it up on Wikipedia, and apparently it got criticized for having, like, a super high level of complexity.
I mean, some Game Boy Advance became pretty complex. Like,
Oh yeah.
you had, Chauncey and I played Eye of the Beholder on there, which was a remake of the original Eye of the Beholder I've talked about on this show, which is the dungeon crawler for D&D. And it was they turned it into a tactical RPG over the dungeon crawler it used to be. That game's complex because it uses 3.5 rules of D&D, all of them. Now you can only get to level 10, but still, that's really complex.
Yeah, no, that's a lot.
It was unfortunately extremely easy if you really like clerics,
Yeah.
because at some point you start to realize that almost every enemy is a human, and hold person and coup de grace is just a big part of that system.
Yep. Yep.
Nice.
You
Good
just
exploit.
you just reminded me of another game on this list, but I don't have enough experience with the genre to comment.
Okay.
So I'll see if you comment on it. But anyways, Planet Zoo, it's one of my top games of the year, which I'm sure we'll talk about here in another couple months.
Yeah. Probably January. We normally do it at the beginning of January.
Yeah, once we have because you get games for Christmas.
All right, Steve, number 3.
Number 3.
Just so we're clear, it took about another 55 minutes for that round.
There we go.
We're on pace.
We're on pace.
All of mine are probably going to be shorter. I don't know. I
don't
encourage
see
some
me
discussion.
taking very long for my remaining 3 either.
What's that even? That's.
She's talking about me. Yeah, I've played.
Oh.
Yeah. I should have thought of that one too, but yeah.
I didn't know that was a direct copy of anything.
It's a knockoff of Eye of the Beholder.
Yeah, I just.
Oh, is it? I
Very,
didn't know
very
that.
directly.
Oh wow, I'm excited then because I love me some Legend of Grimrock. But okay, so originally I was going to talk about another card game, but since League of Legends came up, I'm gonna talk about Heroes of the Storm. Just another whatever. Every MOBA is.
I agree with Heroes of the Storm being better than LoL. Unfortunately, I could never get enough people to play with me. That was my.
Oh, you should have played. We played nonstop. I
We
guess that was
didn't know
before we
him
knew
back
you.
then.
Yeah,
We didn't
you
know
would've-
him
that's
back
true.
then.
Yeah, you wouldn't have known it.
We-
I didn't know
Yeah.
Pan until 2017 at the earliest.
I'll say
But
that
we were playing then for sure.
well, the Discord where 420 and I met was it actually got created February 3rd, 2018 to give you a
Oh.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, at that point, I think I don't know. We could.
That was-
I mean, I love Heroes.
Really?
Steve, that was I know this 420 because it was the day before I gave birth. Because the guy who made
Wait, Chelsea. When
Yeah.
did you say this Discord was made?
February 3rd, 2018.
Okay, our son was born February
shit.
1st.
I was thinking of Matilda's my niece.
Chelsea
Not
just
Matilda,
forgot
Evelyn.
our only
Well-
child's birthday.
Okay, it was 3 days after. My bad. Look, that was a hazy time for me. Okay,
Fair.
Birthday.
my point is, the guy who made the Discord, several months after the Discord was already made, I was like, hey, how come I haven't heard about this Discord? And he's like, oh yeah, here's an invite. And then I looked at when the Discord was made, and I was like, oh, that's why I didn't hear about it and wasn't active in the community at the time you were making it.
All right.
So the point
here's
is, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
The Discord, not the subreddit, because I was getting
No,
confused. I was like, the subreddit. I meant I'm positive I was writing articles in 2017.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, the Discord.
No, 16. I was writing articles in 2016.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm sure, we commented on each other's stuff all the time, I'm sure, but we
Yeah,
didn't really meet
probably.
until the Discord.
Yeah. Yes,
anyway,
fair.
or
Yes.
if you want to play some HOTS, we can get the downloads going now. I'll play some HOTS with you tonight. I fucking love that game.
I'd have to re-download it. I'm down.
Yeah, so would I.
Chance would probably be in too.
Yeah, we can play some
Oh,
HOTS.
shit!
I love playing Diablo.
Don't start the download now. Don't start the download.
No,
now.
no. Yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
another
The
no.
day.
video will die. The video will die.
My computer's downstairs with Chelsea, so I can't. But all right, so cool. I guess this will be a productive conversation. So Heroes of the Storm, things it's got that I like. It's got fast queue times. It's got short games. If you're losing, you lose, and then you start another game. You don't have to keep playing the same losing game for an hour. It's got fun characters. You can have two
characters
players
I
control
really
Ilgal.
care about.
You can have one player control 3 Lost Vikings. You can be a Skeleton King that just never dies. He just turns into a ghost and keeps fucking with the other players.
Oh, dude. The Skeleton
you can be-
King. They added the Skeleton King. They added so many offshoot
Bro.
Diablo
So
characters.
many.
Bro.
The Skeleton King was a long ass time ago because that was when I was still playing a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had the Skeleton King. His thing is when he dies, you don't have to wait to respawn. He's just a ghost, and you can't like hurt anyone, but you can still like attack people. And if you attack them, you like
it slows them down. It slows them.
There's a
that's really
reason
cool.
there's a reason why that exists, and I love this about.
Oh
Heroes
no,
of
there's
the
a
Storm.
reason for all of it.
Yeah,
like,
I love this about Heroes of the Storm
There's
because
so much care.
so the Skeleton King, being a huge Diablo fan, this has been a boss in nearly every game. He only skips Diablo 2, and he has shoulders, like he drops shoulders that give you a second life. So like in Diablo 3. And he's probably going to be back in Diablo 4 because
I'm sure
King Leoric just doesn't fucking die.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, and that is his special ability in
Right.
Heroes of the
Yeah,
Storm.
the butcher is in it. The butcher is in it.
Yeah, the butcher is in it.
He was a really competitive tanky like damage dealer for a while.
I think
I like that. I mean, you can be Abathur who like doesn't fight. He just like sends some Zerg out and like fucks with people. You can be there's a guy that's always invisible. I'm blanking on his name, but it's the Dark Templar from StarCraft.
okay.
Zero Tool. He's just always
Yeah.
invisible. Like always. You can be Variant, and Variant's ultimate is that he just like has 2 swords instead of 1. That's his ultimate. Just like for the rest of the game. He
Yeah.
has 2 swords instead of 1 sword. It's
And he
not like a
kicks
big
the shit out of
flashy
you.
attack. He's awesome. I love that all the customization.
You could be the barbarian from Diablo. You can,
Yeah, you can be like everyone from Diablo.
her name is Sonia,
Her name is Sonia
Yeah,
because
yeah,
of
they-
Red Sonia.
Yeah.
and she has a reskin that makes her look exactly like Cable from the X-Men.
Yes. Yeah, and the reskins, like, I mean, there's like, like all the StarCraft Marines can be like Zerg infested. They have like Jaina as a Dreadlord, which is like a super like long World of Warcraft joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like Illidan and Malfurion, where like Malfurion's the betrayer, and Illidan like is.
Illidan is a druid. Illidan looks
have-
like a druid.
They have Asmodunk, which is Asmodan as a basketball player, and he throws basketballs instead of throwing
Space
his
Jam.
like.
Fireball, yeah.
Oh man, Asmodan.
There's the wizard who is voiced by Great Delisle. She has a moon princess outfit that makes her look like Sailor Moon.
Nice.
I like that. What was it? God, it's been a while. The High Templar, the Protoss High Templar guy. His name starts with a T. I can't remember it.
You played him a lot.
I know I played him a lot. He had an alt skin where he's like a mech, and then you can make his mount be that the mech transforms into a jet.
Nice. See, this is why Blizzard is known for ripping off other games and doing it better. Like Blizzard is the company that is known for doing this.
I mean, like
exact
World of
topic.
Warcraft was like an EverQuest ripoff, and then
That was a possible consideration on my list. Yes.
yeah, I didn't play any EverQuest, but yeah, I thought about that. But yeah, Heroes of the Storm, man. Like we used to every Saturday, like we were in an online D&D game, and every Saturday, like we would finish that online D&D game and play Heroes of the Storm for like 4 hours.
This is pre-child.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is pre-child.
Of course. Yes. I mean,
And
I
then,
was-
we'd play Heroes of the Storm till 2 a.m. then sleep in till 10.
I was very much as almost, not almost, but I was getting to the level of the collector and player of Magic as Chauncey, and then I had a kid and I quit Magic. So I understand. Yeah.
But yeah, and also, I mean, like, and I don't know, this isn't. I played a little bit of the Dota mod, which that was a mod, and that was a very long time ago that I played that.
Mm-hmm.
I have not played. I played a very teeny bit of Dota 2. I have not played Heroes of New Earth or League of Legends or kind of the other popular MOBAs.
Dota
But is
2
there,
was
like-
really disappointing.
Yeah, I just couldn't really get into it.
The only other
is
one
there,
we
like-
played was Dungeon Defenders.
That's not really a MOBA.
It's more of a tower defense game than a MOBA.
Yeah, I would
Sure.
completely call that a tower defense.
They're similar though. There's a lot of tower defense in MOBAs. It just you're more.
I would agree with
focused on
that too.
The structures in a tower defense than the heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was about a month where Steve and I and our 2 college roommates, we just hard into Dungeon Defenders.
You guys hard into Dungeon Defenders. I was like, this game is neat. And then I came back and you were all like, we're level 99. And I'm like, there are levels 7. In Dungeon Defender?
Yeah. I'm level 7.
And then we were like, it's okay, Steve, we'll level you.
And I'm like, my attack did like 400 damage and all their attacks were like 6-digit numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were like, it's lame leveling Steve. Let's all move on to a different game. And then we all played Civ.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But anyway, there's versus AI in Heroes of the Storm. When you're just sick of other people's shit, you can just verse AI. I don't know if that's in other MOBAs.
It is. It's in League.
And definitely in Dota too.
There's also I haven't played it in ages. We occasionally, I guess, play it with Robert when the mood strikes us. But there is like a sort of weekly wacky game where like there's some sort of weird twist, and
I'm like always disappointed with those. I'll say
they tend to drag on long because of whatever the wacky mechanic is.
Yeah, or it's like there's one lane and you guys are 5 feet apart. Go.
Mm-hmm.
Which one team will just stomp the other one, and then it's a
murder.
Oh, who's the ninja guy from Overwatch?
Not
shoot.
Is it Hanzo or is that the bow and arrow guy?
No,
Hanzo's the bow and arrow. It's his brother.
Genji?
Genji.
Yes. Okay, so I fucking love. I don't even like playing Genji in HOTS, but you know what? I fucking love that there is a skin for Genji that looks like the Evangelion mecha, which that is meaningless to you, Fortuan.
I know what it is.
But yeah, there's a Genji skin that looks like the Evangelion mech, and it makes me happy, even though Evangelion has the worst protagonist to ever.
Protagonist?
Oh, don't say
Chauncey.
that, Chelsea. You're asking for trouble.
Chauncey,
I've not watched it.
Okay. Shinji Ikari is the worst protagonist. I don't care, Steve. He's the worst.
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just saying, don't say that on the internet, man.
Internet, I challenge you. If any listeners hear me, I challenge you to convince me that a different protagonist is worse than Shinji Ikari.
Fortuan, I've been meaning to say for like 2 hours, you need a full screen Discord.
It is.
Oh my god!
No, it is.
No, I'm watching the stream. It's not.
It was full screened. I unfull screened it and I re-full screened it.
There we go.
Now we are full screen. Okay. So what else you got? What do you got now, Fortuan?
Okay. So this is going to be a little, I don't know. I'd like to put a disclaimer. This is subjective. All of our stuff is subjective as always. However, and it's not sketchy. No, it is very derivative of the game that it is. So I have found a game very recently that I feel is better than Darkest Dungeon at Darkest Dungeon Zone game.
Wow.
It is called Eratis, Lord of the Dead. Now, take Darkest Dungeon.
What's the platform? Where is this at?
I was on GOG. I got it on sale. I think it is still on sale. It is probably also on Steam. I have not seen it on anything aside from PC. Eratis, Lord of the Dead, you play as a necromancer that wants to take over the world. So you are controlling the things in the dungeon. And you
Can you spell this for me?
IRATUS : Lord of the Dead.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
There's an expansion called Wrath of the Necromancer as well that adds a couple new units.
No, it's cool. It's cool. I'm good. Keep going.
So for the listeners, if you play Darkest Dungeon, you go take a group of heroes that keep coming into this town, keep going into the dungeon, trying to get to the end of this basically save this festering town. Very dark and depressing. You got a narrator. This thing flips it on the head. Your character is the necromancer, and your character is the narrator. And you are playing the necromancer who has active spells that can fuck with the heroes, as well as you create your units. So you kill enemies. They drop body parts. You put them together to make zombies, skeletons, banshees, and witches, and death knights and all like mummies. It works.
This game sounds rad.
It works exactly like Darkest Dungeon, where position matters. You are fighting different positions, and you unlock other units through achievements. So, like, I have an achievement right now where I'm supposed to deal damage to my own units. Losing a minion is still bad. It's not as bad as losing a hero because you can always just kill. You can always just craft a new unit if you have the parts. And you get parts pretty freely. I have an overflow of a lot of parts right now. One of the
421, when I played Darkest Dungeon, it kind of bummed me out how oppressive the game was, and I actually like just couldn't even get into it.
This is easier.
Okay.
This is infinitely
No,
easier.
like the narration and the setting kind of bummed him out.
No, but also like I died a lot, and I was like, man.
The narration, it's a little flipped, right? It's a little more aggressive to the heroes. It's like, oh yes, another one for the grave. Like, it's very positive on your end.
Cool.
It has a lot more difficulty settings than Darkest Dungeon, which was like, God, I talked too long before taking a breath. Let me stabilize myself. Got dizzy from that one.
Listeners, you can't see the smile on my face, but I just watched the trailer while 421 was talking, and I'm jazzed.
Yeah, this thing's amazing. I specifically started this because I saw this on sale. I got it. I suggested this topic before I played this game. I played this game. It's on the list. It's number one. It's my highlight of the list for me.
Wow.
And I have only been playing this game this week. I'm not finished with my first run. Now, it is much more of a roguelike than Darkest Dungeon, as in fact you are doing runs. You are doing a run to the end. You can fail once you lose all minions and I guess ability to create minions, and you fail to take over the world as a necromancer. You can build up your cemetery as you go, so you build up the facilities, right? You don't have to manage stress. Stress is something that you do to the enemies. So
That's rad. That alone convinces me. That was the thing when I was playing Darkest Dungeon.
They do the same things where they might accidentally attack a fellow or that kind of thing. Now here's a cool thing. I think they went deeper into the mechanics on certain things of like how to manipulate units and stuff. For instance, you can be I haven't got one yet, but I infer from the achievements and how to unlock the Dampier is that you can coax humans to your side by turning them into vampires. So you can drink their blood and make them your servants and pull them onto your side and make them fight their party members. You do physical damage, magic damage, which there's two different kinds of resistances. And then you also do stress damage. And if you do enough stress damage, they go insane. They can die of heart attacks just like you can in Darkest Dungeon. There's all sorts of crazy stuff. In a run, you have to get through. It's much more like a roguelike in the fact of something like FTL, where you actually have a path you have to go through and you're getting buffs and dungeons. And the random events are specifically tied to quests, which are a certain tile. So you don't have necessarily random events. You have random quests. So you'll have like some decision making on that end. It's much more traditional roguelike than Darkest Dungeon. Where roguelike Darkest Dungeon is like random stats and that kind of stuff for the heroes that you can manipulate. The difference with the sort of customization of characters on this versus Darkest Dungeon, your facilities are more limited than Darkest Dungeon, I would say. You have some facilities to heal units between fights. You have some to you have to sacrifice minions to make the facility too. So there's an altar that gets you more resources to build facilities, and in order to get more resources, you have to sacrifice a minion. So like, there's a lot more of like your heroes from Darkest Dungeon are essentially your fuel. So because you're a necromancer, right? I mean, you're just throwing skeletons and zombies at people, and they don't not matter, but they, you can spare a one or two. The units themselves are actually really cool. I can't remember her name, but there's one that's like sort of like an undead archer. Her big thing is that she's in love with you, and her like all of her voice lines are like, "Ah, my king," and like I'll do this for you, my love. And she gets hit. She's worried if she's not pretty enough for you. Stuff like that. Like,
it would be it'd be a little tastier if she was some kind of a Sylvanas Windrunner knockoff.
Maybe. I mean, she is a bow
No,
user.
she absolutely isn't though, because Sylvanas has an absolute like disgust and hatred of Arthas, which
Right.
I don't need to explain to you two, but
Right. No, you're
it
right.
that would be just a little tastier if she was the other way around.
The Banshees to me are hilarious because the Banshees are unwilling servants. So they keep telling the opposing team to run away. And when a different unit kills someone, she screams at them murderer. Stuff like that.
Oh, no, that fits with like OG, like fantasy, like OG folklore banshees. So yeah, because you just this ghost shows up and screaming, "Run away!"
The liches are super cocky. The liches that you make, and liches aren't really hard to make too. The liches are like, oh god, that was too easy, basically, or like, oh geez, more fodder, like stuff like that. They all have cool abilities. When you level up their abilities, you can level up all of their stats individually. Here's one of the cool things. If you lose a unit, they leave their brain. And you can put the brain into a new unit. And the level is considered by the brain. So if you lost a level 15 monster, it drops a level 15 brain. So you shove that level 15 brain into a level 1 monster, it becomes a level 15 monster.
That's so cool, man.
Nice.
And that is all that you lose. The items that were attached to them, they can all carry 2 items, just like in other things, and you have to craft those or find those. And there's like monster specific ones, like the Banshees have glass slippers that only they can use. The skeletons have a bone that only they can use. Stuff like that. Some other units off the top of my head, there's werewolves, there's headless horsemen, there's a reaper, which is just like a knight on a skeletal horse. I would say that's probably close to the headless horseman. I haven't unlocked the headless horseman yet. Zombies, skeletons, werewolves. Werewolves are fun. They're sort of like a lot of these kind of do play directly with what their counterpart would have been in Darkest Dungeon. There are also enemy heroes that are like Darkest Dungeon heroes. And I like that there are different kinds of heroes too. Like the roguelike floors I'm going through, you start in like what they call the caves or the dungeons or something. And then there's you have to go through that thing, and there's a boss battle at the end. And then you go through the next level, and then you have dwarves. So I'm in the dwarven mines right now, and I'm fighting a bunch of dwarves. And there's like dwarves and mechs, like these, like it's basically like steampunk mechs, because it's not like, cyber stuff, but it's pretty cool stuff. I've enjoyed this game quite a bit. And I've only played it this week, so. But Eratus, Lord of the Dead, is a better Darkest Dungeon. It's easier, it's funner, it has easier difficulties, and there's only there are 2 units that you have to beat it on a certain difficulty to unlock, and it's not the easiest one. It might be the second easiest one or the third. It's not the hardest for sure. But they have like a decent tutorial where they teach you everything, whereas Darkest Dungeon has like one fight that's a tutorial, and that's kind of it. It's like the first half of the first floor is the tutorial. First half of the first area, I should say. And they teach you everything. How to craft minions and all that. You can also use, like I said, the direct spells are a big thing. I don't use it too often, But if you're like, okay, I'm in a bit of a pinch, I can use my necromancer's spells to like do a bunch of psychic damage to their whole team, maybe throw them off course or something, and rearrange them as well. Of course, you also get to equip your necromancer with items. So I have like a hook for my item that just has a generic passive of any time that units on the opposing team switch positions, they take 7 physical and 7 mental damage immediately. They're just anytime they move, they just take damage, which isn't a lot when you get later in the game. But also things have armor values. It's another thing I should say that changes it up quite a bit. So you have a certain armor value, and they have to have a certain attack power, or they can't go through your armor. So some of your heavier units actually can't be hurt by smaller, quick hitting, fast attacking units. Like it's actually kind of a little more in depth on the combat because of that. So armor is a big deal. And yeah, there you go. And they have ultimate attacks. That's the last one. They all have ultimate attacks. So, Herodotus, Lord of the Dead. I only coughed once during that.
Good job, Fortuan. Made it.
Yeah. So, Chance, number 3.
I'm going to do a little bit of a cheat and say we've had like Star Wars movie title games for a very long time. Like I remember playing Empire Strikes Back on Game Boy. 2D, running around, not finding hardly any force powers ever. But I'm going to say all of those really pale in comparison to Lego Star Wars games if you've never played them.
I've played a reasonable amount of Lego.
I have played some I played the original Lego Star Wars games, and I was like, this was a neat game to play with my younger siblings, and I forgot all about the Lego video game genre for like 10 years.
Well, the big one we really leaned into was Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy, so 4, 5, 6 movies. Mm-hmm. And the aspect of it is something I really enjoy in games is like you play through maps and you have to play as certain characters, and of course if you die you explode into Lego bits, which is hilarious. But some of the things you get later in the game, once you have all the upgrades and you've done everything, there's a golden fountain just spraying Legos, and I think Mos Eisley is your base area before you're doing anything specific. So it's just spraying Legos everywhere. But you also can go back and not follow storylines. So you can play C-3PO and Chewie in places they shouldn't be. Mm-hmm. But my experience with playing this game, and it was fun. There's a little bit of a light action game. Like if you kind of take, I don't know, God of War or anything like that and make it super not serious. You move around freely and swing a weapon. Sure. Like Baldur's Gate might be a better, Dark Alliance might be a better comparison of control. But it was a really good experience. And there's always been, games tied to movies that just didn't quite do what we wanted. And I think Lego specifically was able to take that tense of, we know we can't give you a fulfilling movie re-experience, but we can at least do something fun. And I think they did something fun really well.
And they always have great humor in it, too.
They do. I'm just curious, did you play the Episode 3 video game?
I don't think we did.
I don't remember doing so.
It might be nostalgia, but I actually really liked that when it came out. It was interesting because for the first third, you could play as Anakin or Obi-Wan, but then in the movie when they break up, you have to pick one and then you follow that path. And then at the end you have to fight the other one as the final boss. And if you do Anakin's path, you can kill Obi-Wan and then you go and you kill the Emperor.
Well, that's neat.
And it also had a versus mode where you could pick any 2 Jedi that were in the game and just play against another player. You could also pick Episode 4 Darth Vader and Episode 4 Obi-Wan. And Episode 4 Obi-Wan would have a move where he holds his lightsaber straight up, and if you get a hit with a lightsaber while you do that, you win.
That's funny.
That's about what I remember. I haven't played it since 2005, but I remember because I played the episode 2 game and it was horrible.
Mm.
And then the episode 3 game I actually really liked.
Yeah, we played. It was the original trilogy, is what it was called. Yeah, and we played it over a single night, New Year's Eve.
That sounds awesome.
Just the two of us. My parents have a tradition since high school of just fucking off during a holiday, and leaving my brother off to ourselves. Like this holiday, this Monday, it's just me and him.
Don't worry, it's not like anybody's birthday's tomorrow or anything.
Oh yeah, it is Chauncey's birthday tomorrow. Yeah, they're not here.
Oh. How old are you going to be, Chauncey?
32.
32.
Okay.
Him and Dad have the same problem. They don't care.
37 minutes.
Age.
It matters. Like, you become 25, insurance rates go down. The next thing that matters is 55, and insurance rates go back up. Like, none of the rest of it really matters.
So, Lego Star Wars.
Hey, quick aside, that just made me think of something I'm going to throw in there, and there's like nothing to say about it, but straight up, the Batman Arkham games took the Batman Begins tie-in video game and just did everything better. Mm-hmm. But there's like, if you play these two games, the Arkham games are clearly based on the Batman Begins video game.
Okay. I never played the Batman Begins. I only played Arkham Asylum, the first one of the trilogy.
Yeah, I played Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. And like Batman Begins is like a cool GameCube era like stripped down version of these games, but
just not as good.
And and they were different developers too, so it like totally qualifies. I just like have nothing to say beyond that. Everybody knows the Arkham games.
Yeah.
And why they're good.
It's true. Fits the Assassin's Creed style of combat for sure. So Pan, you're number 3.
Yeah, we're about to get hot, spicy, and topical with this game that I just remembered existed.
Oh, man.
Okay. Does anybody remember the Pandemic Flash game?
Yeah.
Is this the one where you tried to infect everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I have it on my phone.
Apparently, Plague Inc. is not made by the same people.
No, it's not.
I just learned that 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
The board
game?
game?
Yeah, that's a ripoff.
No. Plague Inc. is a Steam game. So as
or a phone game.
Or a phone game, yes.
As I experienced it.
Yes. Okay. So Pandemic, which I first played this game. Let's see. I met you in 2009.
9, yes.
Yeah. So then I would have first played this Flash game on the internet in circa late 2007, early 2008, if I'm remembering correctly. So this was a Flash game, Pandemic, and then Pandemic 2. And this is where all the shut down the borders for Madagascar memes come from, because that's where it happened. And apparently there was actually a lawsuit between the people who made Pandemic and the people who made Plague Inc. But
they're like the same game.
Plague Inc. is what I have played. Okay, I have never played Pandemic. I have played Plague Inc.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Plague Inc. did everything better. Everything, including not having Madagascar shut their borders down the first time someone sneezes in Switzerland.
Although you could get blocked out of Madagascar and play.
You can still get blocked out of Madagascar. Yes. You can. It can still happen.
You can still fail. Yeah.
But the first time someone gets a cold in Switzerland, Madagascar does not shut down their borders.
So quick, which country do you favorite to start in for you guys?
India.
China.
India for me too.
Egypt is a close second.
China, I felt like had more trade with the U.S. So, like, you start with China, you're getting India anyway, but you get the U.S. faster.
You start with Egypt. You get all of Africa by land dispersal. Egypt trades with the UK pretty easily, so then you get the UK, which is sometimes hard to get. If you get the UK, you can get to Iceland pretty easily, which is that one's tough for me to get sometimes.
I choose India purely on population density And I
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
India has India
That's
has a
also why I
decent
picked
population
China, like-
density.
Yeah.
Egypt has a decent population density too.
okay.
Or sometimes if I'm going for a weird build, I will start off in Iceland or Canada, because if you start off in cold places, you can sometimes randomly get cold resistance.
How many people
in,
named their virus COVID? How
I was
many-
about to talk about this.
I have not played this game since the COVID.
I
I always named my virus Solanum.
remember, like, in March 2020, they put out a release that are like, we are not allowing you to name your virus coronavirus or COVID-19 or, like, any variation of it
Or-
that we can
or
detect.
taste,
They were just
yeah.
like, we're not allowing it. And then a few months later, they, like, re-released it to be, like, the pandemic board game. And it's, like, the opposite, where you're trying to stop the spread of the virus.
Yes. Also, apparently, in late 2019, apparently they pushed through a patch where, because once the vaccine comes out for your illness, like that's it, that's over, because everyone gets the vaccine, and then no, you can't spread around anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, in late 2019, they, again, I haven't played this in ages, but Plague Inc. added a patch where you can get a random vaccine hesitancy event where people don't want to get your vaccine, and you can still win after the vaccine gets pushed through.
Mm.
They fucking called it.
Wow. Yeah, I played a lot of this. I am not the most mature person. My viruses and stuff was named like penis and butts and
Yeah,
everyone got the poo poo is one of the ones that I won with.
I did not pre-select this prop. It literally just sits that close to my desk. But I always named my virus Solanum because
They had a World War Z tie-in.
yes, for the movie.
Yeah, they did. That's right. I remember
For the movie,
that.
yes.
Yeah,
They also had a Planet of the Apes tie-in.
Yeah.
They also had a vampire virus, and they had a mind control worm. Which the mind control worm, that was
super
easy.
super fun.
Super easy
And
mode.
easy, yeah, because you could get people to hold down other people and infect them. You
Yeah.
can make countries like mandate infection.
Yes. So I played a shitload of Plague Inc. on mobile.
Yeah, same here.
And I played it a lot on my laptop, on my old ass laptop, which could barely run Plague Inc., which should tell you a little bit about that laptop.
That's unfortunate.
But I played a lot of it when I had this job where, for weeks at a time, I had to go out into literally the middle of nowhere and live at a field station and take soil samples every day for like weeks on end. So I had this shitty old laptop and it could barely run Plague Inc. So I played a lot of it. A lot of it.
Chance was actually where we were at for a long time where I played this. Is we were babysitting as replacement for a maintenance guy that was out in one of the factories that we're at. And I played it a lot on my phone then because we were just sitting there waiting for something to happen. And most of the time, it didn't happen. Like, most of the time, we were just sitting in someone's office. So I played Plague Inc. a lot on my phone at that time.
Yeah. I must not have played it. I must not have played it on phone, Steve, because we weren't married yet, and I got my first smartphone the week before we got married.
That's true. No, I remember when I worked at the daycare, and I had like a 30-minute break every day, and I would just play Plague Inc. during my break every day.
Yeah. So apparently, I'm apparently the only person on the internet that remembers the Pandemic Flash game,
I remember that game.
except for the people who sued Plague Inc. And by the way, they lost because
You can't patent mechanics.
Yeah, you can't patent like Pandemic Simulator the game, and also they were able to show that like their code didn't copy the other people's code.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, it's not actually plagiarism. It's just like addressing the same thing. Like, how else are you going to represent the Earth? It's a map of the world.
Exactly.
Madagascar doesn't trade with that many countries. Like,
you can do it with characters, right? Like you can't
could,
have
but
Mario, but
yes, yeah, no, that's an
you
idea.
can't patent a map of the Earth.
Yeah, you can't patent mechanics, right?
Yeah. So so apparently the pandemic developers lost.
Yeah. Which, I mean, those are like the same game, but that's what we've been talking about the whole night. I mean, like, Stardew Valley is Harvest Moon. Like, they're kind of the same
they
game.
copied
I
it.
mean, that
and
has a
did it
bunch of
better.
innovations, but yeah.
So, but honestly, for the last, 10 years, I have thought that Plague Inc. was literally Pandemic 2, but rebranded.
Nope. Yep.
Nope.
No, they're...
Yeah, I thought they were the same. I thought it was the same development crew because they are so similar.
Yeah.
They both have red boats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And planes.
But red shows danger, so, that's not proprietary.
That's what blood looks like.
Yeah. Anyways, Plague Inc. did the Pandemic game better than Pandemic.
Yep. I would agree with that.
Yep. And butts spread across the world.
That's true.
Yep. Butts.
I would always be like, give it some super, I don't know, like the seasonal cold or something is like what I would name it, and it would just cause instant death.
I'm as amateur as they get in that game. It's just the wee bacteria killed everybody.
I don't know. I probably had one or two runs where I called it like Mega AIDS or something.
Lol. Mega AIDS.
Something horrible.
Super AIDS. Yeah. But with
in all caps.
I always when I had to work out in the middle of nowhere, and that was the only thing I had to entertain me in between taking soil samples. I tried to basically get the best time I could to destroy humanity in the shortest time possible.
I remember you sending me screenshots of
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, I think my best time was something like 330 days with the brain hypnotizing worms.
Okay.
I was never able it gets really tough to shave it down any further than that.
I know that they all had different difficulties, like easy, medium, and hard, essentially.
Yeah,
I beat it with every single type of virus on easy, and I was working my way through medium. I remember that.
Yeah. I had a lot of achievements in that by the time that field season was over.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah.
Plague Inc.
Plague Inc. / Pandemic 2. Plague Inc. did it better.
All right.
So number 4.
That was closer to 40 minutes that time. All right. So boy, Hearthstone was cool. And then Hearthstone introduced a single player mode called Dungeon Runs after people stopped playing Hearthstone.
Yeah.
And Thronebreaker did Dungeon Runs just 5,000 times better than Dungeon Runs.
Okay. And it's a card game?
Yeah, yep. So Thronebreaker is it was originally developed as a single player version for Gwent, the Witcher card game.
Oh.
Okay.
It was going to be a single player mode in Gwent, and then there was so much that they just made it into its own game.
Yeah.
And it is an RPG that is, it's straight up an RPG, but it's also a card game. So you meet people, you make decisions on the story and whether or not they join your party or not. And if they join your party, you get their card in your deck. If you piss them off and they leave your party, you lose their card from your deck. You have to collect resources and you have to decide, because you are this queen and you're going through the countryside and you run into peasants and you have to decide are you going to take all their lumber and fuck up their farm, but then you can build more cards. And there's a morale meter, and your choices will affect the morale, which has effects on the cards. There'll be special missions that are you have to sneak into a castle and it will change the rules of the card game to fit what you're doing.
Yeah.
It was just super rad. I played this game during COVID. Loved it to death. I'm a big fan of all the Witcher stuff.
Yeah.
It ties directly into the books. Sort of interestingly, all the other Witcher stuff is like The Witcher 1 takes place 5 years after the books end. This one is simultaneous with book 5 or something. And this event from the books, you get to play a card game battle that is directly this event where the queen who you're playing as is losing. This is in the books, and then Geralt and his party come in and like sweep it. So they like give you this impossible battle, and right when you lose, you suddenly get a Geralt card,
Oh, wow.
and it like completely flips the battle.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, it was super rad. Let me see. Let me pull up my notes real quick. Also, like, in a lot of ways, Gwent is just a better game than Hearthstone. I don't know. It's more strategic. Also, this, I don't know, it was developed as Gwent, the online game. They made a whole lot of improvements over Gwent, the game that you play in The Witcher 3. Yeah, I guess that was about what I had. There's not a whole lot really to say, but just, being into card games and having like this really cool single player experience. If I ever have an urge to do dungeon runs or whatever, I'm like, I'll just replay Thronebreaker. Oh, and there's even a part where when you're in like the dwarf area, you can find a tavern, and in that tavern is like this dwarf, or no, the tavern is called the Stonehearth Tavern, and the dwarf has like this different version of Gwent that is like they changed the rules to make it into Hearthstone.
Nice. I like that.
I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, and there's a one where like you go into this peasants and like they're like, we got this deranged cow, and there's like this plague going on, and you have to like play the cards in the right order so that the cow will eat like a diseased corpse and die.
Wow.
And it's like it's just this super off the wall puzzle that's like actually really difficult because the cow wants to like eat like your soldiers, and you have to like play them to lure it into the right spot, and then like
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty in depth. Yeah, in comparison to Hearthstone's, hey, beat this gimmick.
yeah.
Redo
Yeah,
this fight.
That guy, so John or Cham, I don't know if you ever finished that Witcher story with the dragon, but the knight who challenges the okay, well when they meet the dragon, there's this knight that's like, dragon, I challenge you to a duel, and the dragon's like,
No.
you're on, bro.
Yeah, and he beats the crap out of him. Yeah.
You can recruit that knight. He's like super staunch, and like every time one of your cards gets injured, he gains like 2 toughness. He's like the best card in the game.
That's
And
hilarious.
but like if you meet a dragon, there's an event where you meet a dragon and you're like, I don't know, do we kill the dragon? Do we not kill the dragon? If you do not kill that dragon, he's fucking done with you. If you show the dragon any mercy, he leaves your group.
Wow, because he got beat up
He
by a
has
dragon.
No, he has
Yeah.
a hate boner for dragons.
Yeah, but this is post that story, so
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was pre that story. My bad.
no, because it takes place in like Witcher Book 5, and that's like Witcher Book 2.
Gotcha. Okay. No, I haven't finished it yet. I haven't been listening to a lot of things lately.
Oh, that's all good. But yeah, that character who I thought was a funny character in that story, they bring him back for this game, even though like he doesn't show up in anything Witcher. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, all these characters from the books, and like, it does not reward you for knowing the Witcher games. It rewards you for knowing the Witcher books, which is
they deep dive on the
kind of
books,
crazy.
and that made Steve so happy.
Yeah.
It was like they made that game for him.
Okay.
Yeah, basically. It's a really good card game.
So what was it called again?
It's called Thronebreaker,
Okay.
like Witcher Tales or something. If you just look up like Witcher single player card game,
Oh,
you'll find it.
I have seen this. This is on GOG.
Yeah, of course it is. CD
Of course
Projekt
it is.
Red.
Yes.
Yeah, right there. Thronebreaker Witcher Tales. It is $20.
Yeah, highly recommend you. And again, it takes place like probably 10 years before the other Witcher games, so like you don't need to know what happens in those games. It's just like a story, and Geralt shows up in one battle, and then just like in the books, he fucking leaves.
Of course, Geralt's all over the front of this, but whatever.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I'm straight up that he's there for one battle, This card is really good.
It says
Also,
the Witcher
if you-
world is back, and it has the Witcher right there underneath it.
Yeah. Also, if you watch the Witcher show, spoilers, but Kair and Geralt become friends, and so Kair also shows up in
Okay.
that battle.
Alrighty. So my number 4, I've talked about this a lot recently, so I won't go on too much about it, but over the older game Banished, I prefer Patron. Banished being a city builder where you can assign jobs to various villagers. Patron is the same game, except it has a tech tree, like some RTSs. And the tech tree requires gold and sometimes resources, a certain amount of wood and that kind of thing. It also has a bit more variety of starting maps than Banished.
Then the 3 in Banished.
Yeah, there's like 16 in Patron.
I modded in like 5, and that honestly, a couple of updates like kind of broke the game, that seemed weird to me.
I live on a volcanic island in my save that I currently have, which is considered an easy map because it is warm all year. You have a winter, but people will not die of frostbite. And then also, which is a big, it is a big detractor from your wood because you need firewood. And it also is easier because the soil has high fertility. So,
That makes sense.
That is the save I am currently playing on. I still have not finished that save, but that save now has over 150 residents. I actually got an achievement for it recently. I can actually look that up. Where am I going? Installed.
Yeah, I've definitely got this game on my wish list. It's super on my radar. I find recently I don't have much time for PC gaming because my PC is down in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And we also don't let the 3-year-old down in this room.
Makes sense with all the board games.
Yeah, like I got board games right behind me. There's my gaming PC right here. And then also directly behind me, you can see it on camera, is my don't touch it, that's my fermenting next batch of mead.
Yeah.
Which I don't think he could get that lid open, but I still don't want him messing with it and getting his icky, germy fingers in there and then contaminating my mead.
Yeah.
Also, my gaming PC and all my model kits.
Yeah. Steve's Gundam model kits are right over there. Oh yeah, there's our giant CD collection.
Yeah,
you can't see the Gundams.
A lot of stuff to mess with.
This is the child-free room. So because of that, I don't do a lot of PC gaming lately because basically it must be done during nap time, and he's growing out of nap time.
That was a sad day for me. It was a sad day when nap time ended for Cece, which actually was about when she was 3. She stopped doing that.
Yeah. He's pushing 4, and nap time's coming to an end. Gone are the days where he gets a solid 4 hours in every afternoon.
Yeah. I remember a lot of Call of Duty at that time.
Last Saturday, he was like, I don't want to do nap time. And I'm like, all right, do you want to just watch Spider-Man? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, fine. We just, we got to have the lights off and we got to be quiet, but you can watch Spider-Man. And he fell asleep watching Spider-Man. So,
of course.
Yeah.
Even when he wants to stay up, he can't.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, that must have been when I was sleeping too. So, I mean, he is reaching the age where we can put on a show and he'll watch the movie instead. So, that's sort of keeping my PC gaming alive, but more lately, I really appreciate the Switch where I can just pick up a game and play it for a bit, then hit the home screen button if I gotta pause it for a bit.
Yep.
PC gaming doesn't have a ton of place except for after bedtime on weekends.
Well, I don't have the kids all the time anymore, so.
Yeah.
So,
But anyways, patron or patron, whatever it is, it's super on my radar, and I super want to get it. I just
built a school in it. That was one of the things. I like that you can enact policies that favor certain things. I favor education in my policies, so I can get more skilled workers. There's a lot more random events in Patron than there was in Banished, I will say. A lot more political random events.
Did you just turn up your mic or something?
No, I don't think so.
You sound the same to me.
Weird. Okay, I don't know what just happened, but you just went up several decibels for me. Keep going. I'm just gonna turn my headphones down.
Okay. There's a lot more because, like in Banished, the thing is you're banished from the king, so you don't have a lot of support from him. In this one, it's quite the opposite. You're like a vassal of the king, so you have to weigh your loyalty to the king and your loyalty to your town. So there will be sometimes some random unexplained taxes from the king, and you're like, literally, it's like, screw him, we're gonna do it ourselves. But whatever decision you make, you have to worry about the lower two classes. There's 4 classes. There's the worker class and the peasantry, and then there's the tradesmen or the merchants and nobility or something like that.
Yes.
And
yes, I remember talking about this, and I'm like, oh my god, you have to play Tropico, and then I gave you a gift copy of Tropico.
Yep, and so the upper 2 classes favor decisions away from the king, and the lower 2 classes favor decisions for the royalty, for the king. So you have to sort of balance that. You have to balance safety. There's events like where rats can get into your storerooms and that kind of stuff. And I don't remember seeing that a lot in Banished, but I didn't play as much Banished.
I don't remember seeing a lot of events like that either.
And they're fairly often, but I also play at 10 times speed. So there's that.
I'm definitely going to check out Patron at some point. I just...
It is literally spelled as patron, but it sounds to me, Patron just feels better to say it that way.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm sure I'll play it at some point. It sounds right up my alley. I just... not sure when.
Okay, so Chance, you're number 4.
Well, we're going to compare to something that we think is called like Masters 88, a golfing game that we played back old enough that the program files only ever had the Real Sound Golf name that Dad had changed it to.
Yes.
But I'm just thinking golfing game in general. I'm comparing to, I like Kirby Dream Course. If you've not played, it is a very rudimentary, almost putt-putt style golf that came out in 1994.
Yeah.
And you have a little meter, you can aim, you can bounce. But the biggest thing, if you're familiar with Kirby, is you can murder little monsters and gain their powers. And if you have the firepower, you'll do a big dash when you activate your ability. The stone one will, if you time it right, you'll slow down really heavily, even if you do a hard shot.
No, you straight up drop if you're stoned. Wherever you're at, you will drop.
Because you can do like a bounce shot.
Yeah.
For me, it was just, I don't want to play serious sports games, and this was definitely early on a goof twist with character I cared about.
I will say, if you are a Switch online member, you already have Kirby Golf. It is part of the Super Nintendo library. So, there you go.
Kirby's Dream Course.
As a Pokemon addict, I'm kind of obligated to have a Nintendo Online membership.
Yep. So with the Super Nintendo Virtual Console, Kirby Golf was part of the original lineup.
Oh. Kirby's Dream Course.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
And you can play through the whole thing, maybe an hour and a half. Like, there's not much to it, but
it's fantastic.
It does have some replayability. It's something that Cham's kids have actually played with a moderate amount of whining.
Which is pretty good for them. Yeah. Yeah, it's a solid one. And yeah, we said it was better than Real Sound Golf because that was the golf game we played before this. So
Is it better than Mario Golf?
they're different games, honestly.
All right. Yeah, I can see that Super Nintendo and stuff. Yeah, I think the first Mario Golf was on the 64, but you know.
I've commented before about how Mario Golf was kind of our go-to sort of game to play when all the roommates were drunk at the college house we lived in.
It is very good for multiplayer. Yep. I will say that. It's very good for multiplayer. I'll be right back.
Yeah, man. GameCube Mario Golf. So much fun.
And then it went missing for a year and a half, and then we found it in my broke-ass GameCube.
Yeah, I didn't realize that we had 3 GameCubes. I thought we only had the 2.
Yeah. Yeah, Chance. So we just like lost the little tiny GameCube disc one day, and we were all very sad. And Mario Golf is actually surprisingly expensive on eBay, or it was at the time.
Wait, Morg says that there was Mario Golf on the NES? I've never heard of this. What? Golf with Mario and Luigi. I'm so curious about this. I'm going to have to look into this. Not right now, but later.
Okay. So anyways, yeah, we lost our little tiny GameCube disc, and all the roommates were sad, and Mario Golf for GameCube was shockingly expensive on eBay.
It was like $40 or something.
Look, we were broke-ass college students living.
I didn't want to spend $40 on like a 10-year-old game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we never rebought it, and then like Steve and I moved out together, and we moved into this new place, and we packed up the GameCubes because, you know, who has got time for that? The Wii U is a new thing, so we play in Wii U. And we move into the place we're living in now, and I'm unpacking stuff, and I find a third GameCube among our GameCubes. I'm like, where the hell did this GameCube come from? And it was the one that like just crapped out and died on us, and then like the next day our roommate was like, oh, don't worry, I bought a new GameCube at Gamers. So we just like shoved the old one in a closet, never to be opened again for several years until Steve and I moved here. So I'm like, oh, where would this GameCube come from? And I pop it open, and Mario Golf is still inside it. Mm-hmm. And then I instantly flashed back to that morning when like we were booting up the GameCube to play some Mario Golf. Well, like 3 of us were hungover, and the GameCube died, and I'm like, well, I guess we're not playing Mario Golf today. We'll go play Dungeon Defenders or something.
Mm-hmm. I think since then, though, I've tried to play Mario Golf and like have been unable to locate it again.
Uh-oh.
That doesn't surprise me.
The story continues.
That doesn't surprise me.
As much as
there's a couple locations in this house it could be in.
I will say, as much as some friends of mine didn't enjoy the new Mario Golf, I enjoyed it quite a bit. The one on Switch.
I heard you don't get to play as Mario, that you like play as a me or something.
You play as Mario. I played as Luigi throughout the whole thing.
All right, well, this is just what I heard, so
yeah, no,
I haven't looked into it.
You can play as a me, but actually, it's got a rather large roster. You can play as one of the charging Chucks if you want.
Wow.
Of course, there's Booze. There's I don't think you can play as a Goomba or a Koopa, but there's like
if I can play as Luigi, I'm happy.
Yeah, no, that's what I did. I was Luigi the
You
whole
mean
time.
Waluigi?
No, I mean if I'm happy if I can be Luigi. Waluigi's better, but I'll be happy with
Waluigi as well.
All right, well that's better.
Wario. Gosh,
I don't care about Wario.
There's a
it's
lot.
about Waluigi.
I was just saying, if you have Waluigi, you should have Wario. I mean,
well, you should. Yeah, I would assume you do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always played Waluigi in like Mario Kart.
In everything but Smash
Mario
Bros.
Tennis. Yeah. Which I understand why he's not in Smash Bros. Because, like, what would he do? Like, who knows? Like, he doesn't have a game to, like, you know, Luigi has the Luigi's Mansion stuff, Wario has the WarioWare stuff. Like, what would Waluigi do? Like, I don't know. Maybe they could combine the WarioWare and, like, the Luigi's Mansion. That'd be kind of fun. He, like, pulls out a vacuum and, like, sucks coins out of people. I don't know.
just Wario just steals Luigi's vacuum, the poltergust.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh jeez. All right, dog, come back.
Okay, I'm going to be brief. I talked about this a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
This game it's a stretch. It's a stretch to call it a knockoff.
Okay.
Originally, I thought this game was not produced by the original company.
Mm-hmm.
But I've recently learned through clicking through Wikipedia, while you guys talk about games that I don't know about, this game was produced by the same company that made all the other games. They just kind of went on a wild hair and made some changes, and why the fuck? I've ranted about them before.
Mm-hmm.
Why the hell don't they innovate? Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, which from here on out I'll just call the Let's Go games.
Right.
I thought they weren't developed by Game Freak.
No,
they were.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Game Freak just went on a wild hair to just reinvent the wheel on Pokemon and just rebuild it differently from the ground up. And they made they made multiple jumps forward in quality of life and things that I liked about it and all kinds of stuff. And then the very next games that came out, they just on all of it. In fact, they absolutely made the opposite decision for some things in Sword and Shield.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've ranted about this multiple times, like the quality of life changes they made for Pokemon Let's Go games. Like, how the Pokemon spawn and you can see what they are, which that is in Sword and Shield. But in Sword and Shield, you cannot tell if it's a shiny if you run into it. Or until you run into it.
Mm-hmm.
In the Let's Go games, whatever the little sprite in the overworld is, that's the coloration it's going to be. So you can tell if it's a shiny before you begin the encounter.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. The other thing that Let's Go does is every consecutive Pokemon of the same species that you encounter. So, for example, if I run into Magikarp, and then I run into a next Magikarp, and a next one, it increases my chances of encountering a shiny by a certain percentage.
Mm-hmm.
I think base chance of encountering a shiny is 1 in 8,024 or something like that. It's roughly 1 in 8,000. But then you get this special award for completing your Pokedex, and it's reduced to 1 in 4,000 instead. Mm-hmm. And then after that, if you encounter consecutive Pokemon in Pokemon Let's Go, you can get your odds up to something like 1 in 100.
It's pretty good.
Because it caps out. It caps out eventually.
Yeah. You still got to find it eventually, though.
Yeah. Now, say I keep running into Magikarps. I use Magikarp because this was the actual one that I did.
Mm-hmm.
I just kept encountering Magikarps because I really wanted to catch a golden Magikarp so I could have a red Gyarados.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept running into Magikarps, and I was on my 60th or 70th Magikarp. And then I see running past me a green Tentacool. And I'm like, oh, goddamn, because it's not your chances of encountering a shiny Magikarp increase, it's chances of encountering a shiny Pokemon increase.
Mm.
Oh.
Yeah, Tentacool is not normally green, it's normally blue.
Yeah.
So I'm like, God damn it. Do I keep looking for my shiny Magikarp, or do I go after that shiny Tentacool? I went after the Tentacool.
I mean, why wouldn't you? Even if you don't use
because it breaks the streak, and then I have to start over for Magikarps.
But now you got both.
That's true. I never did get the Magikarp, but I do have a green Tentacool now.
Okay, fair. Now
Can you just get a red Gyarados from Heart Gold, Soul Silver?
I could, but that one is not as valuable on the online trading market.
Fair enough. I thought you just wanted to have a red Gyarados, just to have one.
No. A naturally caught Gyarados is more valuable on the online trading market for some goddamn...
That makes sense. I did not know there was a way to tell, but I'm not surprised that there's a way to tell.
Basically, nobody wants a shiny Gyarados that comes natively from Hard Gold, Soul Silver, because you can see what game a Pokemon comes from. There's a little symbol on its
But there's
card.
otherwise no difference. All right.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
hilarious, but okay.
All right.
That's fine. I understand.
I could dive into the Pokemon trading community, but
No, it's
not
like
now.
anything else. Like,
Yeah.
comic books, first printing's more valuable than second printing. Like,
Yeah.
not that there's
Well-
any difference.
Yeah. The Let's Go games, another thing they did, although this is more because they were based off the first gen games instead of later gen games, but they don't have 3 goddamn hours of cutscenes before you're really let loose in the world.
Yeah.
Like,
The hand holding is much less, yeah.
yeah, I earlier today I went back to sort of like finish because Steve has his Switch and I have my Monster Hunter Switch, and I never fully like erased my Pokemon save file off of Steve's Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna start my own Sword and Shield save file on my Monster Hunter Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to do it, and I was like, God, I don't have fucking time for this.
So
I
you
don't
just
have
got
time
your
to sit
save
through.
back.
Well, I can't transfer. You can't transfer Pokemon saves from Switch to Switch because it would let you dupe Pokemon if you could.
Feels kind of terrible.
Yeah, but you could dupe Pokemon. Like you could duplicate rare Pokemon if you could.
Fair, I suppose, but
Yeah, that game does not
means-
let you.
because I got the Monster Hunter Switch, I would never be able to put Pokemon on it, right?
Well, what I did was I threw all my Pokemon into Pokemon Bank,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just started a new save on my Monster Hunter Switch.
And just pulled them back down.
Yes,
Okay.
except I was like, I was gonna do that, but I can't sit through 45 minutes of cutscenes.
Fair.
I just
We'll see when
with Diamond Pearl,
Diamond and
with,
Pearl.
with
Hopefully they
Diamond
fix
and Pearl
that,
coming
yeah.
out, I just don't have the patience.
Yeah, but we got a few months. It's November, right?
Yeah, I thought it was late October.
I don't know.
I could be wrong. But
You
we
know
still,
better.
Metroid comes out in October. I know that.
yeah, we still got time. We got time. Anyways, so there's the whole shiny hunting thing that Let's Go did. There's fewer cutscenes and less hand holding, which is extremely interesting because the whole design philosophy behind the Let's Go games was that Masuda, the head developer at Game Freak, wanted a Pokemon game that would appeal to younger generations and reintroduce younger fans into the genre.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that there was less hand holding, I'm like, dude, give us a button that says we've been playing Pokemon for 20 years.
Called the curmudgeon.
That's not how That's not in Japanese game design, as far as
It
I can
is in
tell.
Harvest Moon. Harvest Moon has 3 modes. When you boot up Pioneers of Olive Town, there's 3 different. It asks you, have you played this game before? Yes or no. No. Have you played similar games before? Yes or no. Would you like to try Seedling mode? Yes or no.
Mm.
When you first start your save in Pioneers of Olive Town, it asks you that.
All right.
So I told it, I lied and said I've played this game before. And I lied and said I've played I didn't lie and say I've played many games like this before. I don't want Seedling mode. Thank you. Go away.
Like in Humankind, it doesn't ask you if you've played Civilization before. It asks if you've played a historical turn-based strategy game before.
Fair, because they can't say Humankind before. Yeah, I gotta look up Humankind. I gotta see what I can get that for.
Anyways, some other things that the Let's Go games did really well.
Oh, hey. Happy birthday, Chance.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, it's after midnight for you now. The other thing it did was that it let you bring any Pokemon that was legal in that game, it let you bring it behind you and it flies behind you, and that was the first one to really do that. And that was fun. It's especially fun if your chosen Pokemon to follow you is Magikarp and it just flops on the ground behind you as you walk around.
That's funny.
It's so funny.
I like that Pokemon started doing that because that was a lot of people's dreams to have that sort of like buddy cop relationship that you do.
Wasn't that
Yes,
a thing in? I
Pokemon
remember
Yellow.
that in.
it
No,
is a
Yellow
thing.
had Pikachu,
Hmm.
but I remember in like. I don't remember if it was original Gold Silver or if it was Heart Gold Soul Silver, but I remember like having an Onyx follow me around.
In the park areas, there's certain park areas where you're allowed to do that, and nowhere
okay.
else.
Hmm.
Another thing that Pokemon Let's Go did was that it did away with wild Pokemon battles.
Yes, I heard of this.
Yeah, you don't battle the wild Pokemon. It's very much like with you when you go to the Safari Zone. You can either throw a ball at it, you can throw a snack at it, you can throw a rock at it, but they don't have the risk of running away.
Hmm.
Or maybe they do. No, that's right. They do. They do start trying to run away, but it's way less random than back with Safari Zone. So you don't have to do the whole like, I have to have my like lead Pokemon be the one with False Swipe and Thunder Wave and Flash, because those are like your catcher moves. No, you can just right off the bat just chuck a Pokeball at it and get it over with. It makes for like grinding certain Pokemon way easier. But yeah, with the Let's Go games, I feel like they took several steps forward, and then they took all those steps back when they came out with Sword and Shield.
Okay. Well, yeah.
So not a knockoff game, but goddamn did the Let's Go games do Pokemon better than the other games.
Yeah.
And now I'm out of games, so you guys can skip me.
Okay, number 5. Last one, Steve.
All right. Well, I think we can all agree that Gundam versus Extreme Maxi Boost On is just a strictly better version of Virtual On. Okay, well, I believe that. I'm not going to talk about that. No, I'm going to say Hades.
You're
is
doing
a
some deep
strictly-
cuts, Steve.
Hades is a strictly better version than of Rogue Legacy, even though they play very differently.
So you're saying it's a strictly better roguelike.
No. Partially, yes, but I'm saying it is a strictly better continuous story roguelike.
Okay.
So in FTL, in Risk of Rain, and most roguelikes, if you die, like time just resets.
Yep.
Rogue Legacy and Hades specifically, like that happened.
Yes.
And now you have resources that you can use to make future runs stronger.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to other games where it's like maybe you unlock some customization, but like your power level didn't increase. But in Hades and Rogue Legacy, you do straight up like you can just forever. I have more health now. That's a thing in both games. However, like whereas Rogue Legacy, that's kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the game. There is a story, but like it's very vague. It's like just enough.
Right.
Hades just takes that and just goes so far with it.
Yeah, there's actually
And, like-
specific voice lines of who you die to as well. And
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they directly reference it. You know, if you kill the enemy that killed you on the last game, he'll be like, that's for last time. Like,
Right.
yeah, I really love that game. This morning I got the final achievement for it. So now I've like 100% achievements on it. There's still some stuff in it that I haven't done, but
I only really did the beat it 10 times, and then I played a little bit more after that, and then I was done.
oh, you gotta get the epilogue, man. Finish the story.
You got to get that epilogue, and you got to.
Epilogue's pretty easy. You just gotta make friends with all the gods, essentially,
Oh, okay.
after that point. And then you'll unlock the epilogue.
Yeah.
Or not even all the gods, it's like 5 of them.
I made friends with all of them, but after that, I was done. I did not get as far as you with most of the achievements. I did not get the one true romance ending.
Oh my gosh, I got Zagreus to have a threesome with Thanatos and Megara.
Interesting.
Yeah. He like goes in his room and he's like, "What's going on? Why are you both? Oh, you're both happy."
He's like, "Did I do something? Why? Oh, you're smiling. Oh, oh."
And then
Why is there
Megara's
sudden
like
70s music?
basically, and then Megara's like, "Zagreus." The dialogue is
"Zagreus."
hilarious.
She's like, "Zagreus, you know that we've known each other longer than you've been alive, right? Like, we know what's up. So get over here."
Get over here, plaything.
Basically, that's
Yeah.
basically what they say to him.
Yeah, and then it plays like both of their sex sounds over each other.
So it's like
Like
creepy.
you get to hear
creepy.
Megara is like whipping and Thanatos is creepy laughing. Like
Right.
just layered on top of each other.
It's
Sounds- It sounds
I like
confusing.
lost my mind.
Sounds so confusing. Yeah, I did not get that far. I was fine to have solved the thing
Mhm.
between Zeus and
Yeah.
I forget her name, but your mother,
Persephone.
Yeah, Persephone.
Persephone.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, and most annoyingly, I got the achievement for beating it with heat level 16,
Oh, jeez.
which your reward for that is you get a statue of Skelly.
Okay.
It does nothing.
Sure. Jeez. That's rough.
Yeah, that was a rough achievement.
I think I got
I
the
beat-
worst to heat level 3. Like, ugh.
Yeah, no, I mean, and also one of the things is because one of the heat levels is like harder bosses,
Mm-hmm.
and you can make Hades a harder boss, and he'll be like, "All right, this time I'm not gonna hold back like I usually do," and he has 3 phases, and it plays this super fucking metal music on the 3rd phase.
That is very bad.
Yeah. He also makes the entire map dark in the 3rd phase, and like you cannot see very much of what's going on.
That's just
Yeah.
Also, instead of summoning enemies, he summons mini bosses to help him.
Aw.
Oh yeah. And didn't he summon Cerberus?
Oh, and he summons Cerberus as like a companion call.
Cerberus, no, you're supposed to be on our side.
I know. That's what I said.
No, that's what Zagreus will be like, "Down, boy," and like Cerberus will run across the map, and like he has this huge like range attack that's like you got to go all the way to the edge of the map to dodge.
Jeez. Yeah, no, I'm glad I was out where I was.
Well,
I'm not doing that.
I mean,
you
I'm
don't
gonna
have to.
say like spoilers for the Game of the Year awards. Hades is there for our
Sure.
like podcast Game of the Year awards.
Yeah, sure. I'm not against that. I haven't thought about it too much, honestly. Yeah. There's so
Well, that
much
game came out
more.
last year.
But it's our favorite
we-
games from this year.
Oh,
Yeah,
is it?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's games that we interacted with in this year.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's cool. That makes sense.
Because when I started doing this, I didn't initially do this because we were just a Monster Hunter podcast to begin with. I was like, I really got to talk about Into the Breach. And Into the Breach was already like 3 years old by the time I played it. I was like, but
That's fair.
I've got to talk about it because like there was a solid month and I did every achievement in that game. And
Damn, good
Yeah.
on you. I beat it
Yeah.
once, and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, like Darkest Dungeon was on my list last year
Mhm.
because as you'll recall, I basically spent the quarantine playing it, Steve. But
true.
if you
Erotis
also
is gonna
recall,
be on this year then.
yeah, but also if you recall, like Brent played that when we all lived together.
Yeah, it came out. It was a.
Although that was
an
probably the
early
alpha version.
access. Yeah, it was an early access game.
It was an early.
So,
But
It
yeah,
was.
like Brent was a huge fan of it when we lived together. For perspective on that,
I first interacted with it, I believe, in 2014. So and I interacted with it post launch. I never played the early access.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
the
an
timeline
old
matches
game.
up.
So my number 5 is going to be super simple. I'm not going to talk about it too much because it is strictly a copycat, and we are made by a different company, and they just did it better. And I will give credit to our friend Max, who messaged me this. He's on our Discord as Metalhead. City Skylines over SimCity.
I was thinking about that. I
Yeah.
haven't played enough of either, but yes, I agree.
He and I were talking about that yesterday when I was talking to him about the topic.
Yeah, I don't know how I didn't think of this. I don't give two
Yeah.
shits about SimCity. I played so little of it. I didn't understand what zoning was or meant. It took City Skylines for me to actually enjoy the genre at all. And I love it. I've played it on the Switch. I have played it on the PC. I am now subscribed to a YouTuber that exclusively plays this, and I will listen to him play it.
Wow.
I will suggest, I will throw out free, advertisement to this guy. It's called A City Planner Plays, because this guy is an actual city planner and talks about the strategies and how either realistic or unrealistic it is in City Skylines for certain things. And he does things that he would do in his real life job or things like him, because he doesn't, he's a specialized one. So like he'd be like, okay, so this is why you would do this, and like he would explain why roundabouts are better than intersections in certain scenarios and stuff like that. Like, it's very interesting.
This makes me think I really need to get Factorio.
Yeah, there's a Factorio speedrun up that I want to watch, and I think it's about as much as I'm going to interact with Factorio. That seems complicated as hell.
Chelsea, I don't know if you're friends with John on Facebook.
I am.
He's posted some crazy stuff from Factorio.
I have a friend who is now currently playing that game and talking about it. Yeah, it's just no. But yeah, I think everyone can agree City Skylines is better than SimCity. Like, I mean, that's pretty simple. So
well, the last SimCity just shot the bed so hard.
It did.
It did.
About that day one.
I think
He did. Rip.
Which one is that? Is that? It's just
It's
called
it'd be 5. It's just called
SimCity
SimCity, but it would be SimCity 5.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I played a ridiculous amount of SimCity 3000 when I was in middle school, and then SimCity 5 had multiplayer, so it was like, well, we got to get this. So me and like 2 of my roommates all got it.
Same house
and
same living situation I've been referencing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we all like
Hated it.
felt very bad. 4
I
hours
didn't
later.
have a gaming computer or the money, so I didn't
Participate. Yeah.
That was like my month's gaming money, like because I didn't work very much because I was in school.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
It was a big oof.
So, Chance, do you have a 5th, or are we done?
I do.
Okay.
Probably not a popular opinion,
Oh,
because there's this game called Resident Evil that came out that I
I thought you
hate.
were gonna say Sonic was better than Mario.
I will go up there. I told him if he says that, I will go in the other room and I will unplug his Ethernet cord.
Do it. Do it.
Do it.
Anyway, there's a game I don't enjoy called Resident Evil 1 because I'm bad at shooting games.
Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine you weren't a whiny police officer and said you were a samurai and there's mystical nonsense, and you're now playing Onimusha. Both done by Capcom, but a spiritual element and a more focused melee combat with that awful moving between fixed view rooms saved me caring about a game like that.
Yep. I mean, I would say my equivalent is Dino Crisis. Also the same people.
I played Onimusha Blade Warriors, which was like Super Smash Brothers with Onimusha characters, and that is
Nice.
It also has like Mega Man in it.
So,
It's like Onimusha characters and Mega Man.
The original Onimusha I played. It's one of the few games like that I finished. I only ever finished Resident Evil 2 and 4, Onimusha, and 1, and Dino Crisis 1 and 2. So, yeah, Onimusha's great. A lot easier, too.
I mean, it just felt a lot better with, like, having... I'm assuming it was a katana. But having the sword combat and being able to have that physical knockback when you're in melee combat with something versus... I didn't hit the right part of your body. And it really doesn't help that there's, like, a family folklore story about our uncle getting up in the middle of the night, starting in the starting area of RE2, I think it is.
Yeah.
And never running, like never leaving the area, and just always dying. Because you're meant to run. So he would get up in the middle of the night, play this, go to bed with nightmares because he was torn apart by zombies all night.
Yep. This is the same uncle that used to work at Midway. So.
I was wondering.
For context,
Oh,
yeah. Our other uncle, we have several uncles because my mother had brothers and then my dad had brothers, so they're all uncles. But
Shocking.
yeah. On my mom's side, he's a big WoW player and wants to play WoW all the time, but never commits to that. And then on Dad's side, we have his younger brother who worked at Midway and played Resident Evil and stuff. And we all played Bushido Blade together. And then his older brother, which we all played Doom together through our LAN game across the yard. We had like an actual cable that ran underneath the dirt into his house across the...
That is incredible. Holy cow.
Oh, you weren't
That is
here for
so
that
cool.
story.
Yeah.
I think, we talked about that during, like, multiplayer experiences.
Yeah, something like that. And
Yeah.
we had
Or
as
no,
many
I'm-
as 5 computers.
Maybe I was
hooked up.
helping Soul or something. That's super cool.
Yeah, so like
Yep.
Doom has always been a very big game for me because of stuff like that, and so my dad's older brother, who lives closer by, he's always been into more similar games as to us. Like he's actually a Devil May Cry fan. He actually really likes
Okay.
those games. He doesn't
What
play.
do you mean
as
he
much-
actually really likes those games? Why wouldn't he? They're wonderful.
Well, I mean, he's also in his upper 50s, so it wouldn't
Well,
be.
still, what's that have to do with those games being wonderful?
It doesn't have to do with them being wonderful. It has to do with his exposure to them.
Steve will stand the Devil May Cry games until the end of time.
Why
Okay,
wouldn't I? They're wonderful.
Okay.
I've only played number 1. It was enough for me to say, "Fuck this! I'm not playing another one." Now, granted, I know.
Why would you
that
say that? It's a wonderful game.
I don't like number 1?
There's one of the
GG,
games
wonderful
where you
play-
have a weapon that's like Pandora's box. It's kind of hilarious.
I do have the whole trilogy on the PS4. Like they did that re-release
Yeah.
of the trilogy. I
I don't recommend playing the old ones. I don't. Like, they haven't
Yeah.
aged well. They were fun at the time.
Number 1 did not age
I
well.
like-
'Cause you can definitely tell
I
it's in
would-
that RE4 engine, and I'm like, this doesn't fit it.
Yeah. No, I highly recommend DMC Devil May Cry, and I highly recommend Devil May Cry 5. I
Okay.
don't recommend going back to the old ones.
Gotcha. Yeah, actually, Devil May Cry was the one of the side quest episodes that we were going to do. They got lost because everyone sort of quit the show at the time.
Oh.
That was I actually played that for the show, and then it fell apart. And I was like, oh no.
That reminded me, I noticed, not that I want to drag out the conversation because it is late, but
Yeah.
I noticed that you did an episode on Star Wars. Oh my god,
Fallen
the Dark
Order.
Souls one, Fallen Order, which I was going to be like, that's exactly like Dark Souls, but it's not better than Dark Souls in any way, so I can't talk about it.
I considered bringing Mortal Shell in here over Dark Souls, and that's a purely subjective opinion, because I don't like the flow of what's more viable in Dark Souls versus other games. That's why I like Demon Souls so much. Blocking was a viable strategy, not a great
I
one.
think blocking is viable in Dark Souls. At least 1 and 2. I haven't played enough 3 to say.
It didn't feel good in 1 versus Demon Souls. Demon Souls, it felt like I could just.
I have not played Demon Souls, so.
Yeah. I can't finish it on the PS5 because I'm like, fuck this. I can't get out of stupid Cliff Town. So whatever.
No.
Cliff Town's a Spyro level, but I don't know what else to call I don't remember the name of it, and it's basically the what is the meme one in Dark Souls?
Blight Town.
Blight Town. So it is the original Blight Town, but it's all on cliffs. Like it's all just like
Blight Town is also all on cliffs.
Well, Blight Town has a bottom. Terrible. This doesn't have a bottom. You fall off.
Oh, okay.
It's a bottomless pit. Like there's nothing down there. But yeah.
All right. Half the group's asleep, so should probably call it there.
Oh yeah.
I'm sleepy.
Yeah. So Onimusha, thumbs up. I like it too. Over Resident Evil. All right.
Cheating because they're both Capcom, but
yeah. I mean, Pan did a Pokemon game versus a Pokemon game, so I think we're okay. So, alrighty, thank you guys for listening. It was a much longer episode than usual, but hey, it happens when we have 4 people.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Real quick, you guys tomorrow night want to play some Heroes of the Storm? Since Monday off? I don't know what your schedules are.
Possibly. I won't be home till 10 p.m. our time because I have to drop off the girls.
It's 9 for them.
Yeah.
That's 9 for us. That's more you problem than an us problem. 2, we don't gotta be anywhere Monday.
Neither do we.
We don't either. We are short people free and then we'll work the next day.
Yep.
Yeah. So if we can stream it or not stream it, like whatever.
But we should all get the download going now.
Yeah. Probably. All right. Thank you guys for listening. This is Fortuan at Hunters Hub Pod on Twitter and also here on Twitch. Make sure to tune in. We don't really have any other socials for us to go through at this point, so
nope.
Be sure to join the Discord where we talk about games and stuff. I know it's been quiet. I've been too sick, honestly, to be talking on the Discord too much. I've said a few things, and it's mostly been about Flesh and Blood because that's what I've been doing. So
because he's a shill.
I'm gonna slap you when I see the sponsorship papers or something.
No,
keep talking about it out of context.
Chauncey, at the very least, if he gets some shill money, go buy yourself something nice.
Or go buy more Flesh and Blood.
Shill money. What you think people actually would from that community?
To be fair,
watch this?
This is Cham in real life. We're talking about something completely unrelated. Ooh, that relates to this thing that I like. No, but I see we're still going there.
I don't feel that was out of context. We're talking about the Discord, and that's all I've talked about on the Discord lately.
Okay.
All right.
Talking about League of Legends, and then somehow it spiraled into Flesh and Blood.
Night.
Good night.
No, we were talking about Hearthstone, and it went into Flesh and Blood.
Once of the 3 times we went there.
Good God, I don't even have the Battle.net app on my computer.
All right. I will just say good night. See you guys.
Good night.
Thanks for coming.
Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite.
I pressed the wrong button.